Hey everyone, this is Russell again. Welcome back to module number 4 of the Funnel Builder Secrets training. Now, this is where we start getting into more of the strategy behind how to build funnels. And for me, this is my favorite part. In fact, I've written 2 books about this concept. In fact, this module 4, we'll be talking about the .com secrets concept. And module 5, we'll be talking about the expert secrets concept. So before we go into the actual training, I want to kind of set this up for you so you understand where this is coming from. So about the time we launched ClickFunnels was interesting. We launched it, and it was kind of slow getting people to adopt into it, right? At the time, everyone was so used to websites, and I'm talking about these funnels, and they were confused, and I'm like trying to explain how this is the greatest thing in the world, and it took people a while to kind of understand, and I was like, how do I get people to really understand the power and the strategy behind sales funnels? And so I decided, and I wanted to write a book for a long time, but I'd never done it before, so I sat down. I spent so much time and effort writing my very first book, which is called .com Secrets. And this is like the strategy behind the scenes of how sales funnels work and why you need them and like what's the purpose and like all the structuring and everything I learned over a decade of my life up to this point doing our own sales funnels. And it's called the Underground Playbook to Growing Your Company Online, because at the time nobody knew what sales funnels were. Now my job has been to like scream it from the top of the roofs and make people understand what it is. And it's becoming more accepted, people are understanding it, but it's still kind of a newer concept. And so this book was all about the science of sales funnels and how they work and how like how value ladders work and how you send people from page 1 to page 2 and from funnel 1 to funnel 2, and like then on each page of the funnel, what are the scripts used and how do you sell people, and like just all the strategy behind it. And so that's this first book, and I'm hoping you have had a chance to read it. If not, I'd recommend going to .comsecrets.com, go through the book funnel. It's free plus shipping, but then watch the sales process. You'll see the funnel. I will put in the members area the audio book so you can listen to it. But if you want a physical copy, we don't have an ebook version, but if you want a physical copy, just go to .comsecrets.com and go get a copy of it. But the audiobook we'll give you for free inside the members area so you can listen to it as well. But this will help you understand the core concepts behind how sales funnels work. Every chapter is doodled out. I'm a big doodler. That way it's easy. There's screenshots just to help you understand the process and how everything works together. So this book is really like the science of sales funnels. After we launched this book, then all of a sudden ClickFunnels started to take off. People started understanding the core concepts and how they worked and how they could work inside their business. And so for any of you guys who are still kind of like, I just don't see how this will work for me, this book will help a lot. And then the second side of that is after the book was out and ClickFunnels was growing, I started watching, and we started our 2 Comma Club Award, and people started making tons of money inside of funnels, but there was this big, huge discrepancy between those who were making money and those who weren't. And I was trying to figure out like, what was the thing that was missing, and what I realized is that people were understanding the science, like they would build a funnel, they had the right funnel structure and things like that, but they were missing the art, like what are the words you put on the page, what are the stories you tell, like how do you build a brand, how do you build a following, how do you build all these things? And so that's why I decided to come out with the second book, which is Expert Secrets. And this is like the art of funnel building. Like this is on each page, like how do you interact with the person? How do you build connection virtually? How do you get people to buy from you and to connect with you and to buy your next products and to ascend up through your value ladders? Everything we talked about in the first book. And so I look at this as this is the science of funnel building. This is the art, and they go hand in hand. And I try to make them fun. There's a lot of doodles and sketches and stories and examples. But these books, if you want to be successful in this business, I would read them over and over and over again and have them because it's going to help you a lot. So what I want to do for this module is shortly after the .com Secrets book came out, I decided to do a masterclass. We called it the .com Secrets Masterclass, and it was to take a small group of people who had gone through this book and explain how it would work for them. And what's fun about it is we had people in this small intimate room that were in different types of businesses. We had supplement businesses and info product businesses and karate studios and a bunch of different types of businesses. And I used this as a way to kind of explain the .com Secrets methodology and strategies to a bunch of different business types. And so what this module is going to be is access to that masterclass. We no longer sell it anywhere for any price, but you guys will have it here. And that way, as you're reading the book, or even let's say you're not able to read the book for whatever reason, this masterclass will give you the framework to really understand the science of this, and hopefully it'll get you excited to actually go deep and read the book and study this stuff for yourself. But it's a few hours long, and it's going to give you guys super good context and understanding the science of funnel building. So that's what this module is. We're going to jump over to the masterclass right now. I hope you love it. And then the next module, we're going to jump into the Expert Secrets Masterclass. And after that, you'll have the art and the science both put together for you inside of your funnels. And one thing that I've been doing this business now for over a decade, and it's kind of interesting, like the one thing that I get all the time when I share these things with people is like, this is really cool, but how does how does this actually work or fit in my business? And so that's what this workshop's about. The goal of it is not to reteach the book or reteach what you guys learned on the webinar, but it's to take the concepts and the core information and help you to see exactly how this fits for your business and your business and your business. So that way you can take this stuff and execute on it. One of my early mentors, his name is Dan Kennedy, and first time I went to his event, he had this big, huge poster on the wall that was like as big as this room, and it said this doesn't work in my business. And I was like, I was so confused when I first saw the poster. And then his first presentation of the day, he got up and talked about how every time he teaches this marketing stuff, that people always say, well, that's cool, but it doesn't work for my business. And the reality is it does. It works for any kind of business. You just have to kind of think about it and figure out how to tweak it and make it work for your situation. And so that's kind of the goal of this workshop, is to do that, is kind of take your guys' businesses, these concepts, and kind of blend them together and show you guys how they're going to work. And so what we have here, you guys should all have this. This is called the .com Secrets Blueprint. And this is kind of what we're going to be going through today. And at the end of this should be all completely filled out. And this is going to be your guys' blueprint. It's going to be taking everything that's inside the book. And inside the book, I had to cover a lot of things. So I needed you guys to see a broad overview of everything, right? But then for each of your companies, you're not going to be doing everything. Okay? You're not going to be using all 7 different sales funnels and all this and that. Like, it's just not going to happen. Maybe in the future you'll get to that point, but for today we got to figure out, like, what's the one sales funnel you're going to use? What's the first one we need to be focusing on? What's the process? What's it going to look like? And so that's what kind of game plan is going to be. So it's going to be fun. We're going through this and filling it out as we go through each session. And at the end of it, you should have a blueprint or a roadmap that's going to take you exactly where you need to go, which would be kind of cool. So for those of you guys who don't know who I am, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but I got started in this business. It's been over 12 years now that I got started. And when I got started, I wasn't trying to be a business guru or anything. I wasn't, like, my goal wasn't to do that. My goal was, honestly, I wanted to make some money. I was wrestling at Boise State University. My wife and I had just gotten married. She was making a whopping $9.50 an hour. I was making $0 an hour as a wrestler. And we couldn't even afford our $400 a month apartment payment. And so I was like, I either have to quit wrestling and go figure out, and go get a job, or I got to figure out some other way to make money. And I wasn't going to quit wrestling. That was like my main goal in life. So I wasn't going to quit that. So I had to figure out something else. I jumped online and started trying to sell stuff. I was going to like Deseret Industry and Savers and buying garbage and then taking it home and taking pictures of it, selling on eBay. I can't even tell you how many things I tried to make money, like literally everything. And some things kind of worked and some things didn't work at all. And eventually I started learning more about like information marketing and about creating products and things like that. And in fact, one of my very first products I ever created, some of you guys may have seen this before, it's called How to Make a Potato Gun. And this was like my first, the first product I ever created from my mind, and we created it, put it out there, and the story's kind of funny. It was spring break, and spring break happens right at the very end of wrestling season. So all the wrestlers, all my buddies, they basically, spring break happened and they headed off to Vegas to go gamble and have a big party. And I had just gotten married, and my wife wasn't going to let me go party while she was working and supporting me. And one of my buddies, same thing, he was also married, his wife wouldn't let him go. And so me and him were sitting at home for a week, bored out of our minds while our wives were working. And as any good college kids do, we're like, what should we do? Like, hey, we should make a potato gun. And that started this whole crazy thing, and we spent the next week going to Home Depot and buying pipes and gluing them together and going online trying to figure out plans. And we literally spent a whole week building all these potato guns and having a ton of fun with it. And I remember the next Monday I went back to school, and at the time I was learning about marketing online and how it worked. And I was learning about, like, back then there was a website called Overture where you could type in a keyword and it showed you how many searches each month were happening. And I was like, I wonder if anyone else besides me this weekend was looking for potato gun stuff. I typed it in, there was like 18,000 people a month searching for potato gun stuff, and there were no products out there. And I was like, light bulb, I'm gonna go create a product. And so we went, I called my buddy back up, and I'm like, hey, I'll pay you $100 if you'll let me film us making this potato gun. He was like, well, I'll just do it for free, man. I'm like, no, I'll pay you $100. And so we went and we got this little like handy cam, and went to Home Depot and bought the product and glued it all together, and ended up creating this DVD, and this became one of my first products I ever sold. So it's kind of a fun story. And again, I wasn't trying to be good at marketing. I was trying to make some money. And so this became the first product. And I started creating more products and different information products and software products, just making these little things and putting them out there. And back then, 10 years ago, when I was doing this, it was interesting because the landscape was way different than it is today, right? Today you've got Facebook and you've got YouTube and all these cool ways to drive traffic. Nowadays it's way easier to drive traffic. But back then there was no competition. So that was one nice thing, is that the one or two ways we had to drive traffic, like Google, I was the only person selling potato gun plans. Like there was not many people doing things, and so it was really, really easy. So most of our sales processes were completely basic. Like we had, like for our potato gun DVD, there was a sales letter that just said, hey, want to learn how to shoot potato guns? Here's a DVD. It's 37 bucks. That was basically it, with an order button, and people would buy it, and it worked. And we drive traffic. I'd spend $1 in advertising, and I make $2 or $3 back, and it was easy. That's all we did. It was so cool. But then as the internet started evolving, people like me kept talking about how cool this was, how much money we were making, and everyone else was like, well, I can do that. And 10 years later, there's millions of people all now competing in every market that you're in. And so these old websites that we had, where we would just have a website, and we'd drive, spend $1 in advertising, we make $2 or $3 back. Because all of a sudden now there were 10 or 20 or 100 people selling the same thing, we'd go and spend $1 in advertising and we'd lose $3. And all of a sudden, it became very unprofitable. And so for a lot of you guys, especially if you're coming on the scene right now and you're stepping into the online marketing world, that's the landscape you just stepped into. You didn't have it easy like I had it, where I just had to throw up a sales page and I would make it work. And so for us, it's been 10 years of trying to figure out well, how do I become profitable again? I can't keep spending $1 and losing $3 very long before I'm broke. And so we started just testing and trying things and all sorts of things. And I remember one day one of my friends called me up, and he was like, hey Russell, we just added this thing to our sales letter. We had a sales letter, and after somebody bought on the next page, we put this page, it was like, hey, do you want to buy some more stuff? And he said, I call this a special one-time offer. And he said I started doing this, and he said 20 to 30% of the people who bought my first thing started buying the upsell. And I was like, are you kidding me? That's a big deal. And so I went back, and this is at the very beginning of it. It was funny because we'd have like back then, you'd come to the sales page, you fill out your credit card information, then go to the next page, and it's like, hey, you want the special upsell? Put in your credit card information again. They'd refill. It was like a horrible, clunky process. They'd re-put in the credit card information. But even with that, all of a sudden we were getting 20 to 30% of people to buy these upsells. So I made an upsell for my potato gun product, and then some of my software products, and all the things I had to add these upsells. And as you'll kind of see when we kind of go through this a little deeper, usually the upsell is more expensive than the front-end product. And so because my upsells are typically about 3 times as expensive as my first thing, and because a third of the people were buying it, it doubled my income, boom, overnight. And so these ad campaigns where I'd spend $1 and I'd break even or I'd lose some money, but adding this little upsell all of a sudden became profitable. And I was like, this is it, we're back in business again, we can do this again. So we started doing that, but then again, other people started learning about it, and more upset, other people started doing it, and all of a sudden we stopped, the balance went back the other way, where we're spending money and we're losing money. And so we had to figure out new ways, well, we have an upsell, what if we added a downsell? Or what if we added an exit pop? Or what if we built an email sequence where we resold these people, and we kept tweaking this process and adding more things and testing things. And it's been 10 years of that for me. I've become obsessed with it. You can ask my wife, it drives her crazy. We go anywhere and it's all I can talk about, all I can think about. And we'll be in our rooms laying in bed, and I got a pad of paper, I'm mapping out, what if we did this? And it's just, it's ridiculous at this point, but it's so much fun for me. And so that's what's kind of cool is this book, the reason why I'm so proud of it is it's 10 years of my testing and tweaking and trying and me gambling my own money. There's so many marketing experts out there that drive me crazy because they spout off theory and they've heard this and they talk about this. This book, everything in this book I earned with my own money, gambling my own money every single day. And I've lost literally millions and millions of dollars by bad bets, bad gambles. And I've learned a lot. We made millions of dollars the other way. And so this is why I love this book so much, is because it's like my heart and soul. It's everything that we've learned put in a format that gives you guys a blueprint that you can follow and kind of skip 10 years worth of trial and error and just be able to start where we're at now and kind of run with it. So that's kind of what this book is about. That's what all these funnels and all this stuff we're going to be talking about, kind of where it comes from. But I wanted to kind of lay that groundwork so you guys understand what we're doing and kind of where we're at. So again, today the presentation, this workshop, I called it the .com Secrets Blueprint because I feel like that's what it is. You guys have the book's kind of like the playbook. Here's the playbook. Here's all the stuff we can do. And now it's your job to kind of build a blueprint for your specific business. How do all these concepts, all these things, how does it fit for you? So that's what we're going to kind of go through. And so there's going to be a lot of things we talk about that are similar to the book or to the webinar, but I'm not covering everything. I'm covering just people always ask me, what's the shortest path to cash? If I'm getting started right now, what are the steps to get me making money the quickest? And so that's kind of the goal of this is to build out a blueprint for you guys of of the shortest path possible to go from where I'm at to where I want to be. And then in the future, you guys can add some of these other things and all the other stuff. But I really want to identify that for you guys so that when you leave here, you're not more confused. You're not trying to figure out like what kind of funnel do I build and whatever. I want you guys knowing exactly what it is. I want you to have perfect certainty so you can go home and execute on the stuff. So that's kind of the game plan. All right, so the first thing that we talked about in the book and also in the webinar, if you had a chance to watch it, is what I call the secret formula. And if you look at my entire business, or this entire book, this kind of sums up what the entire thing is about. And it's funny because when you look at it, it's pretty simple. Like I try to make this as simple as possible. That's really the goal of business. And it took me a long time to kind of figure that out. And so the secret formula, the first step in this is we got to figure out who's the person that you guys want to serve. Who's the person that you feel like you can change their life the most? When I started my business, I never asked that question. I wish I would have. I ran for 4, 5, 6 years in a direction trying to sell stuff and never thought about that concept even once. And because of that, I started attracting customers that I didn't like. They were hard to work with, and it was a very painful process. Some days I'd wake up and I was just sick to my stomach. And I'm sure some of you guys can relate to that. Some of you guys have customers or clients who you wake up and you're like, why in the world do I have to go and help this person today? They're not going to listen to me. They're going to be a nightmare to work with. And I thought I really thought like, if you want to make money, you just got to deal with it. You got to get thick skin and you got to kind of just give into that and work with anybody. And it wasn't until about 2 years ago for us that I remember waking up and I was so frustrated because I knew I didn't want to go to work. I had coaching calls and things I needed to do, and I lost the fire completely. And which is a scary point for me. I'm like, if I ever lose this, and that's never a good thing. Like you got to be passionate about what you're doing. And I lost that fire. And I remember laying there in bed thinking like, I've got to change something. And about that time, it was actually over Christmas time, Tony Robbins and his wife Sage put out this video, and I still remember vividly. He was sitting in Fiji, and he got up there and he said, you know, it's a new year. He's like, obviously we can change anytime we want, but the new year gives us this opportunity where we can stand up and like make change. He said, so right now I want you guys to look at yourselves. He says, if you're not happy in your relationship, change it. If you're not happy in your business, change it. If you're not happy with whatever it is in your life, with your fitness or your weight loss, whatever it is, like, if you're not happy with something in life right now, I'm giving you permission just to change it. I remember thinking that like, you know, I can make that change. I can just change it. I'm just going to do that. And so I said, how do I create my business in a way where the only people I'm dealing with every day are people that are awesome, that I want to hang out with, people that I would literally, if they invited me to go to lunch with them, I'd be excited to go and not like, oh man, I got to go to lunch with these guys, right? And so it started out to this is like, I really had to identify who that person was. And I don't think most of us think about it. Like, who is your dream customer? Who's the person that you would hang out with them because you like them, even if you didn't get paid for it? Okay, and if you don't know who that person is, it's hard then to be able to get them, right? So we need to know who that person is. I'm going to walk you through a process I went through to really identify who that person was here in a second. But that's the first step. Who is that person? Now, after we know who that person is, then we have the chance to go and find out where those people are at. Okay? And again, if you don't know the who, you can never find the where. And so that's why it's so important to know the who. So now I know the who, now I got to find out where are those people at. And the coolest thing about the internet, the reason I love the internet is because it's given a chance for people like me and you who don't have, you know, Walmart or Amazon budgets to be successful. Because the internet is cool because, as you see here in this picture, there's a whole bunch of fish in one spot, right? The internet has this really unique ability to like categorize people together, right? I was thinking about back about when I was a wrestler at Boise State, and one of the things that all of us had mandatory study hall every night after practice, and because most of us wrestlers weren't very smart and they didn't want us all to fill out, and so all of us, we go to wrestling practice, eat dinner, and then all of us had to go to the mandatory 2 hours of study hall every night. And one day I remember sitting there in study hall, and I was on the computer. And I had one tab with like my homework, and the other tab was on themat.com, which is the biggest wrestling website in the world. And I was in the forums talking and chatting and having some fun and like commenting on people's things and all these things. And all of a sudden I looked up and I remember looking around seeing all the other wrestlers because I was sitting in the back and looking at everyone else's computer. And I would say probably 90% of the other wrestlers were all on themat.com at the exact same time. And I was like, how interesting, like all of us are on we're all congregated on the same spot. And I was thinking like, I bet if you went to every college in America and you looked at the wrestlers in study hall, I bet they're all on the exact same website as well. And if you go to themat.com, you see there's like 50, 60, 70,000 wrestlers who all congregate there every single day. So if I knew that my who was wrestlers, where are these guys congregating at? Where are they hanging out at? Okay, it's not that hard to find them. They're all in one spot. And that happens in every business, every market you guys can think about. I don't care what business you're in. Right now, your dream clients are congregating together somewhere. And you may not know where it is yet, but you got to find it, because when you can find it, then there they are. You know, like it's an isolated spot. Now you just got to go and grab those people out and figure out ways to get them out. So that's kind of the next step. Then the third thing there is, after you've figured out where these people are at, how do I get those people in, right? This is like, it's bait. Like, what's the bait I'm going to create to get my dream client to come to me? Okay? And so 2 years ago when we were doing this, I was thinking, like, what do I have that's going to get my dream client to come to me? Okay? And we created a bunch of different products and services, and I'll show you my .com Secrets Lab book here in a little bit. But we created this book that basically it was called .com Secrets Labs: 108 Proven Split Test Winners. And it was just a whole bunch of, it's a beautiful book. It's like 140 pages, all of our different split tests that we've been running over the last like 4 or 5 years. We put this book together, and initially I was going to sell it for a whole bunch of money, but I decided, you know what? I'm going to use this as bait. And I was thinking about it, like, if you look at the title of the book, like 108 Proven Split Test Winners, my old client, the ones who their goal was to get rich on the internet, if they saw that, they'd be like, I don't know what that means. What's a split test? Why would I even care? And literally my offer, my bait, would repel the people I don't want to do, right? I'm not a fisherman, but I'm guessing that if you're going fishing and you know you want trout versus salmon, there's probably different bait you use that trout are going to bite and salmon aren't going to, I'm guessing. I don't know. But that's how it worked here. And so I knew that book, like the people I don't want to work with are going to be repelled by it. They're just going to bounce off and not even notice it. But my dream clients, people who have a business, who are already making money, who are doing the kind of things I want, the kind of people that I want to sell $25,000, $100,000 coaching packages to and more, when they see that book, it's going to be like the most amazing thing in the world. They're going to be so excited. And so I said, you know what? This is the bait that will attract the who that I want. And so we put that out there, and this became bait. And over the last year, we've given away over 10,000 copies of that book, which has brought in insane amounts of amazing business owners, people like you guys, into my world. And so then after I got the bait that pulls people out, then the last thing to figure out, one of the mistakes I think most of us make in business is that we're so focused on, like, what's the product I sell, okay? And I don't care what business you're in, if you're in e-commerce, or if you're in coaching, or if you're in whatever you're in, like, the product's not, they're different products. The product's not a business, okay? If you guys watch Shark Tank, Mark Cuban always says that. He's like, you've got a great product, you don't have a business, okay? For me, like, what a business is not like, what can I sell my end client? The end thing is like, what's the result I can get for them? How can I serve these people at the highest level? Okay, and if your thought process is, how can I serve these people at the highest level? How can I change their lives? How can I blow their minds? And if the goal is the end result, that's when the magic starts happening. That's when all this other stuff we're talking about with sales funnel, you build things that get people to want to ascend up to you to get the end result you want to give for them. Okay, and so that's the secret formula, okay? And when you go through the .com Secrets book, you'll notice I'm talking about a lot of this, like, who is the person you're going after? Where are these people congregating? What's the bait that we're going to create to get those people in? And after you've got them in, what are the funnels we're going to use to send these people up? Okay, and that's kind of the game plan. It's kind of cool. Last week, our sales guys signed up our top level program right now is $1 million program. Someone pays us $100,000 down and 10% of their income until I've been paid $1 million. And so for me, it's like that's the top of my mountain. That's where I want. Like, if I can bring people there, that's ideal, because first off, I can serve these guys at a different level. Like, literally, they're coming to me, I'm building out everything, I'm writing the copy, I'm building everything for them, and it's a really, really cool process. And I can give them a result better than anything else I could do in the world. And in exchange for that, they're paying me a lot of money. I'll make $1 million from this one deal, because my goal is the results. What's the result I can get for this person? Okay? And so, like I said, when you go through this process, and we'll talk a lot about this today, the goal is to ascend people up. And you're going to have funnels that start down here to give people little results, which should make them want to get bigger results, and they'll get them to kind of ascend up. And so that's kind of the secret formula. That's the whole concept here with the book, with this training, is understanding business this way, as opposed to, people come to me all the time, hey, I'm in a network marketing program, I want to sell this. Like, okay, that's like a sliver of it, but you're missing everything else. You're missing who you're trying to serve, where are these people at, how can you get those people, what's the bait you can use to attract them, and then where else do you want to take them? There's so much more you can do than just that one thing. And so that's kind of the secret formula. Now, I want to spend 1 minute on the who real quick, because I think this is important enough that I want to emphasize again. I talked about it in the book, I talked about it in the webinar, but for me, when I was kind of redesigning our business and thinking about who my dream client was, I tried to make it very tangible. I think about, like, who is this person? Like, what do they look like? And so I remember I sat down I sat down one day and I wanted a female version of my dream client and a male version of my dream client. I wanted to kind of see what the both of them look like. And so I sat down and I remember I typed in a name. I was like, my dream client, her name's gonna be something like Julie. So I wrote down Julie. And I said, now what qualities does she have? Okay, well, I want to work with people that are successful and driven. Like if they're not like already successful, don't want to work with them. Because people that are successful in one aspect of life, usually they can become successful in a lot of other aspects in life. They don't have to be successful in business, but they have to be successful in something, okay? That's the first thing. Second thing is I like working with people that feel like their business isn't just like I have a business, but like they're passionate about it. They feel like they've got a message that can change the world. Okay, so I wanted to work with people that's what they feel. It's not just like I'm trying to make a quick buck, but what's more important to them is getting their message out and serving people. Okay, that's the kind of person I want. I wanted someone who values her personal growth over money, and I want someone who already has a business that's happening. Okay, I want someone who's already gone through all the beginner stuff, and even if they're not making a lot of money, but has something kind of up and running. And so that was kind of my criteria. So I remember I went to Google Images, and I typed in Julie, I typed in successful, I typed in a couple of these keywords there, and I clicked submit, and all of a sudden all these images came up, all these random people. There's some weird looking people, there's like some Walmart type people, and then all of a sudden this picture popped up, and I was like, boom, that's her. That's the person I want to work with. And so I grabbed that picture out, and that became my customer avatar, was Julie. Okay, and I've got this picture in my office, and I look at it when I'm trying to figure out like when I'm creating products or creating service or things like that, I'm like, would Julie want this? Like, would this be something that would change her life? If I'm like, no, Julie would not, like maybe Julie's sister might want it, but she's not going to want it, I'm not going to do it. One of my friends, Perry Belcher, I'm probably going to slaughter this story, but it was really cool when he told it to me. He used to work at a company. He actually invented, you guys ever used that Pomerol liquid hand stuff? So he invented that. He was trying to make these candles, the whole thing screwed up. They kept burning up and catching on fire, and they were going to throw this huge batch of stuff away, basically. And some guy's like, well, the cool thing about it is you can rinse your hands, and the alcohol kills the germs. And he was like, let's package this thing up. So he packaged it up, sold a whole bunch of them, ended up selling the company to some guys who then ended up selling it to it was kind of a cool story. But he told me that when he was doing that product and some of his other products, that he would go into companies like Bed Bath & Beyond and things like that, and he would take these products and try to pitch it to them. And he was telling me the story. He said that I think it was Bed Bath & Beyond. He was there and he was talking to like the executives and trying to pitch like, here's the product, here's why it's awesome. And the people kept saying, well, I don't know if I can't remember the name. I don't know. Let's say Julie. I don't know if Julie would like that. And he's like, okay. And they show something else. I don't think Julie would like that. And finally, he's like, you know what? If Julie's a decision maker, can we bring her in here? Because I'd like to talk to Julie directly. And they're like, oh no, Julie's not a real person. Julie's our dream client. And we base all of our decisions off would Julie want this or not. And he was like, oh, and had that like aha moment. And I was like, how cool is that? The big, huge corporations that are making billions and billions of dollars, they do the same process as well. And most of us aren't. Okay, so there was Julie. That was our first one. Next one, I want to do the same thing for a man. And it's funny, if you look at my coaching program right now, it's kind of funny, like with Julie, we signed up a lady the other day named Julie, and then she went through the training, and she messaged me, she said, Russell, she's like, my name's Julie. She's like, I'm successfing here. She's like, anyway, she's like, you nailed it to a T. She's like, I am Julie. And I was like, and literally she was name was Julie. It was like so funny. Same thing with Mike. Like, we just got a guy named Mike in our inner circle who looks almost identical to Mike. It's crazy. Anyway, it's the same thing like when I was developing Mike. I said I wanted a former athlete because I love working with athletes. I want someone who's already had a chance to change and affect someone's life in a little way. They've helped a friend or a client or someone, and they're so passionate about the effect and the result they got for someone, they want to blow it up and take over the world. I wanted, again, same thing, someone that values growth over money and already has a business kind of running. And so we developed that, went to Google Images, and boom, Mike popped up. I said, that's my guy, and I grabbed the picture. And now now I know who my who is. I know exactly who those people are. Now that I know who they are, and it's very tangible, now I can figure out where to find them and everything else we're trying to, where to find them, what kind of bait is going to get them, and what kind of results I can get for them. So I want to make sure you guys think about that a little bit and are kind of focusing on it. Okay, so that's the first thing. Now, if you guys go to your blueprint here, the first step here I have is result. And I want to talk about this for a little bit because I don't think, in fact, this is the first situation I've ever talked about this ever. It wasn't in the book, it wasn't in anything else because I'd never thought about it this way before. And over the last 2 or 3 months, there's been this trend of people who come into our coaching programs and things like that, where they come in and they have an idea, they've got something they want to do, but they've never actually gotten a result for someone before. And they want to start selling this concept, right? They read a book or they went to a seminar and all of a sudden they want to start teaching, they're fired up and they're passionate, they want to change the world, but they haven't ever gotten a result for someone before. And it's been interesting. I think over the last month, I would say probably 5 or 6 people, when they come in our program, I tell them this is the first step you got to do. And I wanted to kind of bring this back to you guys because I think it's the key. So what you need to do is and I'm curious, how many of you guys in your business you're in right now, do you have tangible results that you've gotten for somebody? Okay, about half of you guys, and half of you guys haven't. So I want to tell you a story. This is a guy named Drew Cannoli, and my wife said he's pretty much the best looking man on earth. I don't know about that, but anyway, so Drew is a really, really cool guy. He owns a company called Fit Life TV. They have like 1.5 million Facebook followers and a whole bunch of stuff, and big into juicing and all that kind of stuff. And so I had a chance to get to know him. I went to his website, thought it was cool. I had a mutual friend, had him introduce me to him, and I was in San Diego one day, and so it's kind of cool. Like I called him up. I was like, hey, you don't really know me, but Carl taught, blah blah blah, introduced me. I'd love to come meet you. And he was like, all right. He's like, that's cool. Like, here's my address. Come meet me. So I jumped in an Uber, drove up to his place, and I showed up there. I started talking. I'm like, hey man, just seen your stuff online. Thought you were really cool. I was in San Diego. Wanted to meet you. And he looks at me and he says, it was so cool. He said, this is the weirdest thing. He said, 3 weeks ago, I bought .com Secrets Labs off Facebook. He's like, I was reading, I remember thinking in my head, how cool would it be to have Russell come and do all this stuff for our business? He said, and right now you're sitting in my living room. I don't know how you got here. You called me today, now you're sitting in my living room. He's like, this is the weirdest thing in the world, okay? And I was thinking, and like, Drew is like my customer, like my dream client, right? And I had a couple options. I could have been like, well, Drew, you should give me $100,000 and I'll help, blah, blah, blah. But I was like, you know what, like, I don't want to do it. He's got a bunch of stuff happening. It's really, really successful. And anyway, we kind of just talked about business a little bit. And then my family was in San Diego, so I spent a couple hours with him, jumped in my family, went to Legoland, and didn't see him again for a couple months. And then a few months later, I was just sitting there in bed trying to think, like, how can I get more of my dream clients in? How can I get more of the kind of people I want to be working with? And I had this idea pop in my head. I said, you know what, like, Drew is like my dream client. Someone who's got a really successful business, bunch of stuff happening, they're having some struggles and can't quite get through the next level. And I said, I have an idea. So I called him up and said, hey Drew, this is the deal. I would love to come out to your office. Typically I charge people $25,000. I'll come in, I'll spend a whole day with you guys, and I'm not going to charge you anything. But if I come, I'd love if I could videotape it, and if it helps you guys, I'd love for you guys to give me a video afterwards. And he was like, yeah, that'd be awesome. So jumped in a plane, paid my own way, flew out to San Diego, got there in a conference room kind of like this. His whole team was there. And they spent about an hour giving me everything in their business, like the ups and the downs and all sorts of stuff. And they were in a spot, I didn't realize this at the time, they were in a spot where they were making over $1 million a year, but they were losing money every single month. Like, they were not profitable. They had been, but because Facebook had made some changes and things like that, they were struggling. And so we looked at everything, and I sat down and we built out a kind of a model and a blueprint what to do. It was funny because they didn't have a whiteboard for me, so I had markers, and we were drawn all over the windows in the place, and had all this stuff, and literally came and just tried to serve him the best way that I could, and did as much as I could. And what was cool is that after we came and did the stuff for him, about a month later they rolled out the new funnels and new stuff, and they went and just blew it up. They went from being unprofitable to where they were netting like 20 to 30 grand a day consistently from day one. Boom, boom, just amazing like turnaround, which was really, really cool. And they let us videotape testimonials of him and his staff and all sorts of stuff, and it was awesome. And then I came back and I took those videos, put them online, and we started driving Facebook ads to these videos of him talking about Russell came and just blew our minds, changed our world, and guess what happened? All of a sudden, all these people started seeing, it wasn't me saying, hey, I'm really good at being a business coach, you guys should come hire me. They started seeing Drew talk about, man, Russell changed my life. Boom, all these things. And he started sharing his results. We drove traffic to that. And overnight, thousands of, like, his face produces applications for our coaching program like crazy. Like, tons of people started coming in because we gave him this result, okay? And so for you guys, what I want you to start thinking about, and we're gonna break for a second for you guys to do this, is I want you to think about, with whatever your business is or your product, your service, do you have someone that you have changed their life? Have you given them the result? You've taken them through this process at your highest level? And if not, I need you guys to work for free for someone. I need you to find 1 or 2 or 3 people, because this is going to fuel and drive everything else you do. The better success stories you have, the more you've changed someone's life, the more people you're going to attract because of that. Okay, so the first step is start thinking like of the people I have right now, who are the ones that I can serve the most, or if I don't have one, like who's someone I can volunteer my time? Who can I go work for free? Okay. there's a kid that lives that goes to church with us, and he was like 16 or 17 years old, and he was trying to get a job last summer, and he went and applied at like 20 different places, and every place was like, sorry, not hiring, not hiring. And finally got so frustrated that he said, you know what? And he went down to the mall, and he walked into some, I don't even know, I think it was the Buckle or something like that, and walked in and just said, hey, I want to see if I can work for free for you guys. And they're like, what are you talking about? He's like, I've got nothing to do. Do you mind if I just fold clothes for you for a while? They're like, all right. So he started folding clothes and everything, just folding clothes like crazy, and did that one day. Next day came back, started folding clothes, and after 2 or 3 days working for free, these guys came and said, hey, do you mind if we give you a job? He's like, yeah, it'd be awesome. And boom, he got a job, like his dream job, right? And I think that's the key, you guys, is like, if you guys want to like slingshot your success, you've got to have some just amazing success stories. You've got to change people's lives. And if that means that initially you've got to go and volunteer your time, it's worth it. I promise you it's worth it. So there's Drew. This is a picture of Liz. And Liz is someone, I didn't do it for free. She signed up for our $25,000 program, but we same thing, we gave her a result. And the other thing is a lot of times you've had results for people, and you can say, yeah, I helped so-and-so lose weight, or I had so-and-so do this, this, this. But the problem is, like, you knowing that you have a result does not turn into money for you. Okay, so the second step is after you've gotten these results, you have to capture them in a way that's going to inspire people. Okay.
So I want to tell you something. Hiring Russell Brunson was bar none one of the best decisions I've ever made in my entire life. And I want to tell you that when you work with him, he takes you on this journey that you won't even know that that you're going to go on. Like it's like at the very beginning, I had all these hopes and dreams and visions, and I honestly thought that, yay, I'm working with the overnight success maker, and like I thought, whoa, I'm going to make like $500,000 in the first month of working with him. But you know what? The eventuality is that sometimes in life it doesn't always work out the exact way that you want it to work out, and that's certainly where it got to for me. So my 2014 was one of the hardest years I've ever had in my entire life. Like, there was cancer in the family, people were in hospital. I thought I was gonna, at one stage I thought I was gonna lose my partner. Like, it just wasn't a pleasant scenario at all. And by losing my partner, I mean like hospitalization, like really not, like from really bad health issues. And there were just times when I promise you I wanted to give up. And sometimes I actually, when I say that, I don't just mean give up in business. Like for me, when I hired Russell, it really was like it sounds really dramatic, but like my life's mission, it's so big. Like I really, really, really wanted to connect with someone who could get me to the next level, who could help me really get from that really stranded, grounded place, sitting at my office every single day, to a place where I'm, helping like people all around the world. And that's why I chose Russell. But man, it was hard. It was really, really, really hard at times to have to deal with those things that come up in your personal life all the time. Like, it was not an easy scenario in 2014, but I'm really, really, really grateful that I listened to Russell. I'm really grateful that I hired him as a coach. Like, the man has changed my life forever. Like, once you're, like, my mind has been blown completely, and there's no way back. Like, I know that anything is possible now.
So the reason why I showed up is not to kind of brag about anything. The reason is because I promise you guys that right now, most of you guys have stories like that of people's lives you've changed. And can I see them? Like, where are they at? You gotta capture, because that's the goal. Giving someone the result and blowing their mind is one thing, but you've got to have some kind of proof element so you can then show people. Now, I was talking to Mike about this yesterday. He's like, well, that's cool, but I can't hire a huge film crew, all these kind of things. Ideally, yeah, you want to make them as good as possible. But I sat down with him yesterday and I said, watch, I can do one of these in about 30 seconds. It won't be quite as good as that, but it's going to be really, really close. It's funny because I've seen people who do have testimonial videos of their clients, and this is what they're typically like. Person's awkwardly standing here. Sometimes they got a little microphone. It looks horrible. Usually it's a really blown up screen, like really small in the middle, and the person's like So I went to Keith's class and it was really awesome, and I learned how to tap people out, and I'm definitely coming back again next week. And that's how like most people's testimonials are. Okay, it doesn't inspire anything, right? So I'm gonna show you guys really quick in about 30 seconds how to make a video on the low budget to make it super easy and super powerful. So a couple things that are important. So I did this with Mike last night. I did it just with my iPhone. So you can do iPhones, you can do iPads. A couple things that are key. First off is, I think the most powerful way is you've got to have some kind of interesting background. Like it shouldn't be against a white wall or something boring. Like go outside, find something. This one, they went outside and had kind of this nice trees and stuff like that. I like having people off-centered. For some reason, it seems more sincere. It seems really, really cool. Second thing is that the person that's being the testimonial should not be looking at the camera. Okay, if I'm filming this and looking at the camera, when there's a testimonial where someone's looking at the camera, it seems very insincere. I don't know why, but it just does. And so if I'm filming it, like when I filmed Mike yesterday, I had the camera, I had my phone right here, and I said, Mike, look right here. And I had my eyes right next to the camera, and so he's looking away. Do you notice Liz wasn't looking at the camera? She was looking away like she was being interviewed by someone. So you hold the camera, have them look to the side of the camera, not at the camera. That's the next step. And then second, you've got to be a reporter. You've got to feed them the questions that you want, okay? The first time I learned this, we hired this guy named Jonathan Otto who does a whole bunch of really good videos, and we hired him for a week. He came out here for a week, he was doing stuff, and I found that like he wasn't amazing at capturing video, but he was amazing at asking questions. And I looked at the process he did, and that's what made these videos magic. And so for you, instead of like giving some microphone and say, give me a testimonial, they're like, hey, so it was really cool and I think I liked it. You've got to be the one like the Oprah Winfrey, right, where you're bringing this out. And so what I do typically is I start asking questions. I say, okay, before you got started with me, tell me what your life was like before you got started. And we're taking someone on a journey. I want them to tell me, okay, you notice Liz, she talked about where she was at, talked about the journey she went through, and then where she's at right now, okay? Beginning, journey, and then the result. So you ask them, say, again, look at my eye right here when we talk. Okay, so when you got started with me, what was your life like before we got started? And they'll say, hey, this is what happened. And they'll start talking back to you directly, okay? And notice how much more sincere that sounds. Then you say the second question, second or third, like, now when you're going through that process, what were the struggles you went through? Like, what were the hurdles you had? And they can like, well, the biggest hurdles I had was I got stuck here, I got stuck here, okay? That's awesome. Now, what was the reason why you got started with me? Well, I got started with you because of this and because of this, and these are the reasons why I thought I would work with you. Okay, now was it easy when you first got started? What was the process when you first got started? When I first got started, it was scary, it was hard, it was difficult. I didn't know what to do, but I decided to take that leap of faith and do it. Okay, cool. So after you did that and you started getting results, like, what's your life like now? Oh, my life's amazing. Like, it's changed me from this to this, and it's been the greatest thing in the world. Boom, okay? That's a testimonial now. That's magic, right? It's me feeding a couple of questions to get their journey. Where did they begin at? What's the process they went through? And what's the result at the end? Okay? Now, afterwards, you gotta do some post-production. I don't know how to edit stuff. I've got Brandon who edits videos for me, a couple other people. I've heard, and my little kids do this, so I know it's possible. On their iPads, they have like Movie Maker, I think. And the key is like, you don't want to have you asking the question, okay? And so one thing you coach this person through is that when I ask you like, what was the beginning of your journey? They can't say Detroit. Like they have to kind of like restate your question, right? So say, well, the beginning of the journey for me was whatever. So get them to restate the question, because the next thing you do is you're going to cut out you asking the questions. You don't want your voice in there. You want them telling the story. And last step, add a music track, and boom, you've got gold that fast. Okay? So that's the way you guys capture these. So again, getting a testimonial, if you don't have any yet, you got to work for free. Second off, if you do have them, you got to capture those now because they become magic. And then third off, this is kind of the process on how you capture them. Okay, so what you guys do right now, I'm gonna give you a few minutes. I want you to sit down here and step number one on your blueprint. I want you to think about who is someone that you have, who you've already gotten a result for, that you know you could go and you could capture an amazing piece like this to give you proof elements of what you're talking about. Okay, so that's the first thing. If you don't have someone yet, then I want you to think about who are people potentially I could go and that I could work with, that I know that I could, if I was to go and work with them for free, maybe a day or a week or something, I could blow their mind and just change their entire life. Who is that? Who are those people? So I want you guys to write down kind of 3 people you can think of right now, and we'll give you guys a little ability to do that, and we'll take a little break here. Sound good? All right. What's the one big takeaway, the one thing that you notice from what you're currently doing that you need to change, or the thing that I guess is the biggest aha for you at this point so far?
What I've realized is that I haven't specifically niched down to find where my people are hanging out at. I know who they are, but I don't know exactly where they're all hanging out at the same time. So what I'm going to focus on is is finding those pools where I can cast my net, you know, not just a rod, I want to cast a whole net, and really target in on the people who I think I could really benefit and really help a lot more. So it was huge for me.
You know, one of the things that I've noticed when you're talking is I'm hearing a lot about service to others, about helping others. It seems like when you give a lot in this presentation especially, and I'm noticing that I think what I need to be doing is I'm going to double and triple my service to others. And when I do that, I mean, I feel like I'm going to get something in return from it, but it's not about, hey, give me this and I'll give you this. It sounds like I'm going to give you something and I'm going to really try to help you. And I think that's what I'm going to focus on, is really take up my service level to people and help them as much as I possibly can and care about what they're doing. And genuinely too, not just to make money, but I mean to have a better impact on who I'm trying to help.
I liked what you did as far as really narrowing down who your customers were. I'd never even seen that exercise of really getting a name attached to the person and getting exactly who they are. The thing that I've noticed in my business is that I think we've kind of, by default, attracted customers just kind of as we have. And I think that's something that immediately when I go back to my business today, we're going to go to the whiteboard and we're going to sketch out exactly who our customer is. And I think I really do. I think that's going to have a real impactful way of naturally finding and attracting the people we want to work with. And I think that's going to make for a much more enjoyable work.
So the big one for me was the video testimonials, and I've done a really good job over the past couple of years of bringing people in and offering a difference. And I know that they like the brokerage, they like what they see, they like the differentiation from where they've been before, but I've never captured it. And so many times I have to explain it to other people or let others explain it about our place, which is great and it works, but it's a slow process. And when I actually saw this step by step, like you have dozens of people who are highly regarded, successful in the industry, and they would be more than willing to do this. And then you add a little music, and there you go, it's magic. So I just kept thinking the whole time, like, that's a really powerful way. And even as I was looking at your video, I thought to myself, like, how many years of great testimonials right after an event could I have captured had I done it?
Yeah, I got a lot out of that first session. You know, just two specifically, the customer avatar, really drilling down and getting the picture. I've never done that. It's like actually putting a face to the avatar and then directing everything, all of your messaging to that one person. I know how important that is, and I know it's also something that most people don't give the adequate time to really to make it work for them. The other piece of that is the testimonials. I've helped a lot of people over the years, but I've never taken the time to actually do the testimonial, and that's something I'm absolutely going to go add right away, because I listed a bunch of people already. I was like, I'm going to go talk to them, and I'm actually thought about ways I could do this video process. I love the kind of the way you structure the video testimonial, but to see if I can do that virtually, like through Skype or through a Google Hangout, and you know, feed them the questions, have them look off camera, and see if I can make that work as well. Then I don't have to drive, you know. So yeah, it was awesome.
You know, Russell, you talked about the avatar, you know, just like a couple other folks have said. I think that's one of the most important things that I really got, is taking this from just, you know, how much can I earn by doing this, but who am I actually earning from? And the way you built the avatar, you know, your perfect client, it actually, after rewatching the webinar and practicing that, just like literally visualizing, who is this person? You know, and what is their life like? You know, almost like writing a screenplay. What's the backstory to this person? You know, who's their spouse? Who are their kids? What are they dealing with on a daily basis? And just really creating that bond with that person, so that I'm not just, hey, I got a video for you. I'm actually showing up for them. I'm showing up for them in a relationship that, you know, really honors who they are, so that the intention of our company is to be a tremendous benefit to these people. And so to me, again, I think that that's the biggest takeaway from the first part, is we're dealing with human beings who have lives just like us, and they need support. And so rather than just, how much can I get from this? You know, how much can I serve these folks?
Understanding who our customer is exactly is wonderful. understanding how to do a good testimonial, I think that's great. One of the things that I really took away was stop focusing so much on the product and build the business around it. There's products everywhere, and everybody has a product, but why are those products failing? Because they don't have a business built around it or a way to get it out to the market. So to me, it's to stop focusing so much on the product and what is my business. How do I get my business wrapped around the product so that it's out to everybody? I think doing testimonials, understanding and defining who my customer is, and making sure that I know my why. I really love that you talk about value, because one of my mentors, he taught me, value created is value received. If you give massive value will come back.
And I've worked with a lot of people and shared shakes and health and good nutrition with so many people, and they've told me how much they love it and how much better they feel, but I never really thought about putting it together in a testimonial and how that would improve and bring things together. And the other one was, finding the your avatar. And I've done that with so many other things. It's kind of like, what's the word? I can't think of what it's called. Vision board. You're focusing on what you want to bring in, and that's exactly what that is. You're focusing on the kind of people you want to work with and the kind of atmosphere that you want, and you're being very detailed about it. And so I never thought about that with in this kind of setting. So it was really cool.
This has allowed me to really identify actually 2 clients for myself or customers as well. So it really nailed that down. So, and it's also, you showed me how now I can go find out where those people are swimming, so to speak, and now I can actually drop the right bait in that water for them, so I can actually pull them up gently and nicely and not hurt them. But, and then the testimonials, I got a lot of testimonials from my business over the last 8 years, but they're all just kind of written down in emails and things like that. But actually showing that how to do the testimonial properly, that's going to be a big help. So I can put those on my website. When people go there, it's going to have a much bigger impact.
I think the biggest thing I got from this first session was your avatar, because I guess in the internet marketing world, or you just see numbers come in. So building an avatar, it actually gives you, what you're working for, I guess, and who you're selling stuff to and helping their lives. That's probably the biggest thing. Is sometimes it's really hard that way to really get involved, I guess. So that's the biggest thing. And then the testimonial is awesome, because you can always tell like a fake testimonial, I guess. So those are my 2 biggest takeaways.
I want to start transitioning from, we talked about earlier where we talked about who's your dream client, where are they at, what's the bait you're going to get with them, and then where are you going to send them. So now we're going to be talking about kind of the bait that we're going to use to grab them, and then how we're going to send them up to our highest level offerings, okay? And so for those of you guys who've gone through the book or the training, I've talked a lot about value ladders, okay? And so a value ladder is basically somebody comes into your universe and you got to provide value to them. If they receive value, they're naturally going to want more. They're going to want to ascend up and get more stuff, okay? And that's just kind of how humans work, right? Like for example, we got to eat, let's say we go to this great sushi place and we eat it and it's just amazing. What do we want? We want more of that. We want to come back. We want to take sushi classes from these guys. We want to we naturally want to ascend up and get more and more. And so when we're structuring our businesses, that's the goal, is to at every level, every interaction somebody has with us, we want to give them so much value that wow, I need more of this. We want to cause addictions in our customers, okay? I always think about that. It sounds kind of goofy and kind of weird, but if you can cause an addiction with your customers, they keep wanting to come back over and over and over again, that's like the best thing in the world, okay? And so we do that through funnels. Now, inside the .com Secrets book, I share a lot of different types of sales funnels. And I don't want to talk about all of them today because some of them are more advanced funnels, some of them they're used in different, more unique situations. But there's 3 core funnels that we use typically in almost all of our businesses. And for you guys, you're probably at some point or another going to use all 3 of them. But to begin with, I want you guys to pick the one that's going to make the most sense for you to start with. Okay? Sometimes some businesses, and I'm going to walk you guys through the 3 kinds. The first type of funnel is typically kind of on the bottom of the value ladder, and it's called a tripwire funnel. And this is where you're selling low ticket things to, again, provide value and make somebody want to ascend up. Okay, in the middle of the value ladder, we typically sell through something we call the perfect webinar. And the perfect webinar is usually you're selling products more expensive, somewhere from $300 up to $2,000 or $3,000. And in the back, we have a high ticket funnel. We're selling super expensive, anywhere from $5,000 to $100,000, $1 million or more. Okay, and so that's kind of the process. Now, I used to teach people. I used to believe that you had to bring someone into the value ladder at the bottom and then send them up. But the reality, what I've seen, especially recently over the last year and a half or 2 years, is that each of these types of funnels kind of is a value ladder in and of itself, if that makes sense. Okay, for example, like a tripwire funnel, and I'll show you guys a bunch of examples of this. Typically a tripwire is like a really low ticket thing. It might be free plus shipping, or it might be $7, something really, really low. And so somebody buys that, and it's an easy transaction for them. They buy it, and all of a sudden they get this thing, they get some value, and then you're going to naturally want to send up. Okay, so sometimes we'll drive traffic to a tripwire, but sometimes, like for example, Liz, when she came to our coaching program, she didn't have any of these things, and for her, it made the most sense to start with the webinar. And so she did a webinar. Now, what's interesting is that her webinar was selling a $1,000 product. You might think, who's going to come to Liz and they never met her before, and all of a sudden give her $1,000? Well, typically you won't, because again, she hasn't provided value. So the sales process changes a little bit. Okay, so for here with the perfect webinar, somebody comes, they register for webinar for free. They sit on, they hear her talk for 60, 90 minutes where she sells her product, and in that process, she's providing tons of value. And so because of that, because of the sales process, she's able to sell a $1,000 thing, because the webinar, that process provides the value. So you can drive traffic directly to here. Same thing with the high ticket funnel. We drive people all day long from cold traffic to a high ticket funnel, and it works because the way the sales process works, where it's warming someone up and they're getting value during the sales funnel. And when they do that, they're able and they're more likely to spend really, really expensive things. Okay? And so it's important to understand that you don't have to start with this. You don't have to start with, you pick the one that makes the most sense for your type of business, and then you kind of craft that one out first. And so one of my goals for this for you guys is to figure out which one of these am I going to create first, and then we're going to laser focus in on that. Okay? So again, tripwires are typically selling lower ticket things, anywhere from $0, free plus shipping type things, up to $10, $20, something like that. Perfect webinar, you're selling anywhere from $300 to $2,000 or $3,000, and high tickets usually $2,000 or $3,000 up to as big as your imagination will allow you to dream. And so that's kind of the game plan. So those are the three different funnels. So I'm going to kind of walk you guys through them all really quick. So the first is called the tripwire funnel. And in the book, I never called it a tripwire, but recently it's been kind of nicknamed this. A guy named Perry Belcher kind of came up with that term tripwire, and the industry's been calling it that. So we're going to call it that for this workshop, just so you guys know kind of, as you learn more online, people reference it and call it that. So we're going to call it that for this training. So tripwire typically is, the goal of a tripwire is a product that you're trying to get somebody to come in, okay, at a low barrier. For example, I told you guys earlier today about the .com Secrets Labs book when we created that. Initially, my goal was to sell it for $200 or $300. I was going to do a webinar and try to sell it. But I thought, you know what, like, if I just gave this away for free, like, everyone would get it. And if they get it and they get value from it, they're going to love it. Okay, I remember because when we first got it, I gave it out to a couple people, and people like went crazy for it. And they told me, like, it's on my desk. I had tons of people say, like, I got the book and it's in my bathroom and I read it every time I go to the bathroom, which is totally creepy. But that's a good thing, right? I want every time someone's going to the bathroom to think about Russell Brunson. Every time they're sitting at their desk, they're thinking about Russell Brunson, right? And so my thought was, like, I want my best thing in the hands of as many people as possible. And so against like all logic, I said, let's just give it away for free. It was free plus shipping. So they basically come in, they put a credit card in, they pay, I can't remember, $8 or $9 for shipping and handling. We mail it out to them, and boom, they get my best product in their hands. Okay, that's the first thing. Now, in the next presentation, I'm going to walk through what happens after that, because this is where the magic happens, because you can't sell things for $0 and stay in business that long. So there's a bunch of magic that happens behind the funnel we'll cover in the next session. But that's kind of what a tripwire is. It's a low ticket thing to get somebody and to bring them into your world really quickly. So here's a couple examples. This is the .com Secrets Labs one. Again, with this little tripwire funnel, I can't even tell you, it's brought in over 10,000 new of my dream clients into our business. On the back of this, we sold over, I'd say over 150 people. We sold our $10,000 coaching program, and 36 people bought my $25,000 program from this. People are like, Russ, why did you get this book away for free? I'm like, because based on my numbers, I don't know what it is off the top of my head, $2.3 million we made from people who got this, got a ton of value, and then wanted more. Okay, so that's the .com Secrets Labs, one of our tripwire funnels. This is one of my friend's companies called Survival Life, and they went to China and found these little credit card knives for like 30 cents in China. He bought a whole bunch of them and made them free plus shipping. I think he paid $2.95 shipping and handling. He put this out there. First month on Facebook, they sold 130,000 of them. He's got 130,000 buyers onto their email list. And then Facebook kicked them off because they didn't want to sell knives. And they took it out. They've been driving traffic to a ton of other places. But I think last time I heard they had sold free plus shipping of these knives, like 400,000 or 500,000 of these knives. So 400,000 or 500,000 buyers have come into their world. I was talking to Mike yesterday. Mike, one of his companies buys traffic from these guys. And just for you to buy an email to their customer list is $22,000. Okay, and they sell like an ad every single day. And so like they're getting so many customers come in because of this really unique thing. Okay, so I don't want you to think like in your business, like what do you have that could bring someone in like that? Do you have a book? Do you have a CD? Do you have a knife like that's going to bring your dream client in? Okay, for these guys, they're in the survival market. Their dream client would love a credit card knife that's going to get through the TSA. In fact, their ads are so funny. Like the TSA won't even catch you won't even know you're packing your knives on the plane. Like all these weird things, but their dream customer, like that's what they want, to be able to like have a knife with them on the airplane in case terrorists attack, right? And so it brings their dream client in. Okay. This is another one that I thought was really unique. This is also the same guys that own Survive Life on this one. They started a company where they do suits, custom fit suits. And so trying to think like, how do we sell like super expensive custom suits online? Okay, it's not that easy, right? Like, how would you, like, it's not that sexy thing. Typically, if you want to buy a suit, where are you going to go? You're going to go down to the tailor and get fitted and all that kind of stuff. And so they're like, well, how do we do this? And they said, well, we know one thing, that not everybody who wears a suit has cufflinks, but everybody who buys cufflinks wears suits. So they found these really cool cufflinks, got them sourced in China, gave them away for free plus shipping, and they got hundreds of thousands of people who now get the free things on Facebook. Boom, now they start selling them their suits, shirts, ties, all this other stuff, and they built a huge company based on that. Is that cool? This is one of my buddies, this is his supplement company, and he doesn't even charge shipping. He just, again, wanted to give value. So he's got this page that just says, hey, if you want a free sample pack, let us know where to ship it. No credit card required, just give me your address, we'll ship it out to you. And so you fill that out, you put it in, and he ships you, she ships you this little thing in the mail, and it's really interesting. Every time I call him, I said, why don't you try to sell me anything? He doesn't, afterwards, on the next page, he doesn't try to sell you anything. He doesn't email you, like he just gives away free stuff and then hopes you come back. And his company has grown 20% every single month since he's launched this thing. They're making insane amounts of money just by giving away free stuff. You get a sample and you get addicted and they keep coming back. We call it the drug dealer clothes. Someone said that earlier. So that's kind of that's like a cool way with the supplement. So you guys have a supplement you can use that's going to attract your dream customer, your dream client in. This is one of my friends, because the examples I've shown you so far have all been like free plus shipping type products, but they don't have to be free plus shipping. This is one of my friends. He's in the real estate market and he's teaching people how to flip real estate. So he wrote this little report called How to Flip Houses from Your Cell Phone, and he charges $7 for this report. It's like an ebook. And he makes insane amounts of money from people who want to learn how to flip real estate buying this little report. Okay, so that's kind of what a tripwire is. It's a low ticket thing that is designed and crafted to attract your dream client. Okay, if you look at this book, you guys, if you watch the marketing we've done behind this, like everything about this was designed to get my dream client. Okay, I could have put something like how to make $1 million on the internet. Okay, but who's that going to attract? The dude that I don't want to be working with. Okay, we made this the underground playbook for growing your company online. Okay, I got Tony Robbins in her testimony, Diane Kennedy. Like this is bait that was created to attract my dream client. Okay, when we launched this book, we're not charging for it. It's free plus shipping because I want to get as many of these people in my world as possible, and then from there I can do all the rest of the stuff, send them up, sell them other products and other services. So for you guys, I want you to think in your company. And again, everyone's going to be different. Some of you guys, the tripwire style funnel is going to be the one you're going to focus on first. Some of you guys might not be, but some of you guys, that's going to be the one you want to do first. So start thinking like, what do you have? What could you create that's going to bring your dream person in? Okay, and it can be products you get from China. It can be information you create. It can be DVDs. It can be a report you write. There's a million different ways to do it. It's just what can you craft? What can you create? What's the bait? Okay, we showed you guys earlier. It's the bait. What's the bait that's going to get your dream client to buy it? If you can create that, boom, you've got them. Okay, so that's what tripwire funnels are. Okay, the second type of funnel, which is the webinar funnel. Okay, now a webinar funnel is typically I'm selling a more expensive product. Like I said, somewhere from $300 up to a couple $1,000s. Okay, and the way that a webinar funnel works is somebody comes and it's more like like a live event, okay? When I got started in this business 12 years ago, it was funny, like people were doing a lot of live events. This was how everything worked. And so you pay a couple $100, you fly out to San Diego, you go to an event, they have a whole room of people there, and they get someone come up on stage, they would speak and teach about something, and then they'd sell something, and everyone would run to the back of the room and give them money, and that was kind of the model. And I remember the first event I ever went to, I remember seeing this, and the first speaker got up on stage and he sold, and everyone's running to the back of the room. And I remember like doing the math in my head. The guy was selling a $2,000 package, and I'm watching people in the back, and I'm 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. I'm like, that guy just made $65,000 in an hour. And the next speaker gets up, he does a little pitch, and then he says, closes, and everyone starts running back, and he was selling like a $4,000 or $5,000 package. I'm like, 5, 10, 15, 20. That guy made 80 grand in an hour. I remember looking at it, I was like, I got to learn how to do what those guys just did. Like that was the most, these guys are making more in an hour than my parents were making an entire year. I remember being so blown away. And so for me, I started learning how to sell things from stage and things like that. And over the last 10 years, that's morphed where less people are doing live events because it's so expensive to get people to show up, but now they're doing virtual events. And the process that we're doing is, and some of you guys, hopefully if you went through the book or the training, I showed you guys my perfect webinar script, which is a script we built to actually how to do the presentation. But the perfect webinar funnel is crafted and created to sell more expensive things. Okay, because again, someone's coming in, they're hearing you speak for 60 to 90 minutes, that's where they get tons of value, and then that's why it's okay and you're able to sell them at the end of it. Okay, and so for some of you guys, this is going to be the funnel that makes the most sense for you if you have got more of a high ticket, more expensive type product. Okay, this is an example of one of my webinars. It's called Funnel Hacks. We launched this thing, I think four months ago. During the presentation, we sell a $1,000 product. In the first 3 weeks, we did $1 million in sales. We're over 2 million right now, and it just makes a ton of money. And it's a really cool process. So what happens is we drive people to this page, they click on the button, they register for webinar, and then typically what we'll do is we'll do these webinars on a Thursday. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we're driving traffic to this webinar, they register, then Thursday they show up to the webinar, we get on there, I do my little presentation, I teach, I provide a bunch of value, at the end I make a special offer, and a percentage of the people will always buy at the end. And it's amazing how much money you can make with these. So this is one of our webinar funnels. It's called Funnel Hacks. This is Liz Benny's. So I showed you guys the video from Liz earlier. So this is the funnel we decided to start with her. I remember she was like at first like, well, should I make a free plus shipping thing? What should I do? And I'm like, no, with you, like you want to sell about a $1,000 product for your business, for what you're trying to create. The webinar is the right type of funnel. So she built her webinar funnel out. She created her webinar. She followed the perfect webinar script that's in the book to a T. And it's kind of a funny process. She started driving traffic to it, and at first it didn't work, and she had tweaked a couple things. And now, every time she does the webinar, every Thursday she does a webinar, and she crushes it, and then she'll Vox me afterwards, and she'll send me the numbers just to kind of, because for me, I love, like, nothing gets me more excited than seeing people's success. And so she'll Vox me like, hey, this is how many sales we got. And it's crazy, because every single week, she'll get anywhere from 800 to 1,500 people to register for this webinar. By buying ads, she's spending between $1 and $3 to get someone to register for the webinar. Let's say she gets 1,500 people, about a third of those people show up live. She does the webinar live, and when she's on there, she'll get anywhere from 10 to 15% of people to buy. And so when she's on the live webinar, it's so funny because she'll do the webinar, and then she'll text me afterwards, hey, made 23,000 bucks. And boom, I'll see that text come in, and then she has a follow-up sequence that she'll take people through, and the next day she's like, boom, I'm up to 33,000. And the next day I'm up to 55,000, and then whatever ends up being at the end of the week. And it's crazy. And every single week, by doing this little webinar process, where literally she's a hard worker, but she doesn't have to do much all week long. People are driving traffic for her. She gets people in. The webinar happens on Thursday. She shows up, does her 2-hour presentation, and she's done. And she's making $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a week in and week out with this webinar funnel. Okay, so if you guys are selling a product that kind of fits in that price range, this webinar funnel is just amazing. It provides tons of value. It builds your list really, really quick, and it's an easy and amazing way to sell things like that. One of the cool things, and as Chad is someone here, Chad's a chiropractor, you guys know, and he's been doing his thing locally, and one of the cool things about watching him with his companies, he's been taking that from this local thing, like how do I serve people when I'm not just bound by my geographic location? Like how do I break out of that? And so he's taking his knowledge and his skills now and turning it into a perfect webinar where now he can sell $300,000, $500,000 packages to people all around the world. And it's just cool to see how you can take your expertise, because so many of us, we put these limits on ourselves, right? Especially the local business owners here. Like here's my geography, I can attract people around here, but you've got skills that you can serve people from everywhere. So how do you change this and tweak that? And the webinar is a way that you can really take your message out to the masses. So that's a webinar funnel. And the last is a high ticket funnel. And this is where you're selling really, really expensive stuff, anywhere from a couple $1,000 up to, again, as big as your mind can dream. And so that's what the high ticket funnel is. And I'll show you kind of our high ticket funnel. This is what it looks like for us. And I've got a bunch of different variations of this. This is one, there's a video Tony Robbins talking about me. I've got one with Liz. I've got one with a whole bunch of other people talking about their experience with me, the result they had. And afterwards, there's a button that says, if you want to learn more, you got to apply. They click on the application button, they apply, and then from there, there's this whole process behind the scenes where they get a phone call and they get sold into our hiring coaching programs. And so for you guys, if you're selling coaching or consulting or high ticket things that are expensive, that are hard to sell just on a webinar in a group selling situation, but you got to sell it more one-on-one. So I found when you go over about $2,000 to $3,000, most people to be willing to pull a credit card out and like call their bank and increase their limits so they can spend more than $2,000 or $3,000, it typically doesn't happen like in a group setting where I'm just pitching and everyone signs up. It typically takes more touches to get someone to do that. So we do that through like a high ticket funnel where there's a phone call afterwards, someone's actually talking to them on the phone and selling the more expensive thing. Okay, so that's kind of what the high ticket one looks like. This is another guy, he's inside of ClickFunnels. I just met him, got to know him in the last couple weeks. This is his high ticket funnel. Right now they're doing about $300,000 a month on it, and it's very similar to the way that we structure our high ticket funnel as well. He's selling, every month he does a 4-day, he calls it his warrior week, and he gets people to pay $10,000 to come to his warrior week, and he beats the crap out of them for 4 days. And then at the event, he sells them a $50,000 like life or a year-long version of him beating the crap out of him. It's pretty cool, and he's crushing it. But it's again a high-ticket thing. So if you've got something where you're thinking like high-ticket, expensive things like that, then the high-ticket funnel is going to be the one for you. So the first thing I want you guys to kind of think about right now is for your business right now, the one we're going to be focusing on kind of over this process. Which one makes the most sense for you? Are you going to be starting with some kind of like tripwire funnel? Does that make the most sense for your business? Or do you need to focus more on like a perfect webinar type funnel? Or do you want to work more on like a high ticket type funnel? Which one makes the most sense for your business? So I want you to take a second, kind of mark down which one makes the most sense for you, and then we're going to go around the room and kind of talk about which one you chose and why you think it's going to be a good fit for your company.
Our company is a supplement company, so the best thing that we're thinking of is the tripwire. And what we're kind of thinking is doing like a free plus shipping offer. Basically, if we can get people to try our product, then we'll have a recurring revenue that keeps coming in.
I drive traffic and I'm a media buyer. What I'm thinking most importantly for me is to get people to see testimonials from other people and the other success that I've had. So I'm going to do a high ticket funnel where they land on the landing page, they see a testimonial, and they go to an opt-in and an application and a homework page, and then just have people call on the app. So I think that's the most important thing that I can do to get the best return.
I have a couple different things that I do. I teach martial arts, and I have a lot of videos that people buy from me all across the world, and then I also have a survival channel as well. So I do two different things, and I can see all of these working in both of these. I think for the martial arts side, the tripwire, I'm in the process of writing a book right now, and so that would be the perfect thing to do. But I can also see the webinars as well, getting people in to come in and then so and the higher ticket item too. I mean, what we were talking about having them come in for a week and sell that as well. So how's that for an answer?
So which funnel do you think you're going to do first?
Tripwire, I think, is the thing that's going to, I mean, in the step process, the tripwire, I think, is the way to start this out.
We've got a local clinic here in the area, but obviously I want to reach more people on a national and international level. So I'm actually in the process of doing the webinar. Just about all the steps are complete. I'm just kind of fine-tuning a couple little things. We've already done some kind of test traffic driven to it. It's working so far as that process. I've just got to tweak a few little things. And but yeah, it's definitely the webinar for me, and it's awesome. I love it.
And what are you going to be selling on the webinar?
So what I'm going to be selling, obviously, as a chiropractor, I adjust people, so I can't really do that telekinetically over the phone. I guess some can, maybe. What I'm actually selling is more health coaching. So people with chronic health problems, what we do is there's some diagnostic testing that they can do in the convenience of their own home. There's a laboratory they send it into. The lab gives me the results. Then based on the results, I can create for them a customized treatment plan based off of supplements, lifestyle modifications, stuff like that. So
I'm trying to recruit people that don't want to leave where they're at because they're already happy where they're at as real estate agents. And so to get their attention, I was thinking of a couple different things. Like, I like these quizzes online. I think that they're pretty helpful. But also, if you had like a personality test that kind of had your personality and how you've done in real estate and kind of the best way that you could apply that sales going forward. So I also thought about that, or an actual like a real estate marketing analysis, so you can see exactly where you're at and how you can improve. And I think those two things would be a good tripwire, just because everyone's interested or curious how their particular personality would come across, or what like some ideas would be to, whether it be email marketing or face-to-face or open houses or what it may be. So I think that those two tripwires could be good. Also, a free giveaway of a book, like a really good book that I thought, just to keep in contact with these people.
So my company provides marketing services and consultation and training for entrepreneurs and business owners, and we already have a couple of tripwires in place, but I'm already thinking of ways to redo those so that they can flow better into a perfect webinar. I've helped a lot of people put on webinars that have been successful, but I haven't done very many recently, and so it's time to rethink the whole webinar strategy.
So we've built a webinar that it works. It's a pretty compelling story. It took quite a while to put it together. Going through it the first time, your coaching was helpful. And so that's where we're focusing, is on the webinar funnel. And on the front end, we'll do a quiz, basic health quiz, a wellness quiz that people will say, oh, I've got that, oh, I need that. And then that will take them immediately to a sales video. And the sales video then gets them to the webinar. So once they're ready for the webinar, they'll actually go through an application process at the end of that. And then basically, until they're a client, they're out of my hands. So I'll just let somebody else actually go through the application process with them. It's cool.
But there's a couple different businesses that we've got, but one of the main ones that I'm concerned about and want to do is Soil Pro RX, and it's a supplement that goes on the ground. So to get that out to retail, to clients that are actually in subdivisions, but also to the large farmers and to golf courses in different places, I think we're going to have to build a tripwire first. A webinar wouldn't work very well for getting that out to retail clients, so we're going to build a tripwire.
We have a company, shakethings.com, and we're going to go with the tripwire. I think that will work the best. We have a free jumpstart guide that we're going to offer, and we like to teach people that eating well shouldn't be rocket science. So we're just going to kind of lead them into that, and I think the tripwire is going to work the best.
Well, I'm in a network marketing profession in the health and fitness arena, and we already have a tripwire. It does okay, but I've found some room here where I can probably make it better. But also, when you're talking about the perfect webinar, I got an idea sparked with me, because we have people come into our business now. They come in, and we have some other things we get them in, some systems we can get them into. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually make the perfect webinar and put a package together in that webinar, so when they come in, they're going to come in at a little higher ticket price, and I think it's going to get me a lot better kind of prospect for our business opportunities. So I'm going to definitely do the perfect webinar.
What I want to do now is I want to walk you guys through a process that I affectionately call funnel hacking, and this is like my favorite part of the business. Like, I literally buy stuff all day long because it gives me the ability to funnel hack people and find out what's working. And so I'm going to kind of explain the concept to you guys. I'm going to show you a couple examples of each of these types of funnels, and then hopefully give you guys the ability now to go out there and figure out how to do this game and how to really be successful easily. So if you master this piece of it, you guys, this will shave off 5, 10, 15 years of your learning curve to get successful really, really quickly. So funnel hacking. So a couple of things to kind of preface. Like, first thing, this is a concept I learned from Tony Robbins, and I'm a big believer in it. He says, if you want to achieve success, all you need to do is find a way to model those who've already succeeded. Makes sense, right? So I was thinking back in my life when I was growing up, I wanted to be a wrestler, and so I started wrestling in 8th grade. So I was kind of older, getting started than other people, but I wanted to be the best. And so I went out there. I tried to find like who are the people that are super successful, like the coaches and the other athletes. And I went and I found those guys. I got to know them. I wrestled them. I modeled them. And in a very short period of time, I went from being a complete beginner to being a state champ to being an All-American and getting a college scholarship. And it wasn't because I was an amazing athlete. Like you could ask any of my coaches or my teammates. I was one of the worst athletes on the team always, but I loved it and I was passionate about it. And I figured out like what are people successful doing, and I modeled them and I figured out how to do it. And so the same thing happened when I started my business. When I started my business, I was in college. My initial goal was not to try to serve people or help people. Unfortunately, I wish it was. My only goal is I wanted to make money. And so I got online trying to figure out how to make money, and I was looking around, and I didn't have a business degree. I didn't know anything about anything. All I knew is that there were people who were making a ton of money online. And so I found those people, I looked at what they were doing, and I just modeled exactly what they were doing. It's funny, if you see the very first actual product I ever created was this product called Zip Brand. It was a little software product. And I created it because there was this guy named Armin Morin who was a multi-millionaire online, and he had like 10 different software products. And I looked at it and looked at every one of the software products. The pages looked exactly the same. It was a long-form sales letter with a picture of a software box, and it looked like all of them looked identical. So when I created mine, I was like, he's got like 6 software programs. He's making millions. I'm gonna make a software program. I made one, and then my page looked exactly like his. Like I modeled it as close as I could, and that's how I became successful. It's like I found people who were successful, and we modeled it. And so the same concept's true, you guys, for sales funnels. You all know now which type of funnel you want to do. You know if it's a tripwire, if it's a webinar, if it's a high ticket. So now that you know that, I don't want you to go out there and just kind of walk blindly and just hope that, okay, I'm going to do a webinar to see if I can make one work, because that's where it takes, could take 6 months, a year, 5 years, 10 years to figure it out. Okay, that's when I got started, what I was doing a lot of times was kind of just guessing and stepping out there. And like the perfect webinar script that I give you guys in the book, like it was literally me standing on stage in front of 500 people and like trying to pitch something and nobody moves and being humiliated in front of all these people. And like me like cutting my teeth trying to figure out like, why are these people not buying? What do I got to do? And like trying this and trying that and doing all the hard work, and from that building out a script that's like, this is something you guys can model. It's the same thing here with funnels. There are people out there that have crazy successful funnels in every one of the markets you guys are in or you want to be in. And so the goal is not to kind of reinvent the wheel or try to be creative. It's to find out what's working, and then we can model it. This is something I like to share with people because every time I talk about this concept, people always come back, but Russell, I got this idea. I'm going to try to do it this way. I'm going to try to do it this way. And I'm a big believer in this. This quote says, you can always tell who the pioneers are because they have arrows in their back and they're lying face down in the dirt. Okay? Now, I don't know about you, but like, especially if you're like a new new business owner, or a startup, or someone like you don't have a ton of time and energy and money just to like test ideas and try to hope that things are going to work, right? I mean, most of us don't have that luxury. You got to be sure that you're successful the first time or maybe the second time as quick as you can, because eventually, really quickly, most of us are going to run out of cash and run out of abilities to grow. And so for me, I don't want to be a pioneer. I don't want to go out there and get all these arrows in my back and fail. I want to be the people that follow up the pioneers, the other people, because those are the ones that can be successful. The first time I ever really understood this concept, I was at a Dan Kennedy seminar, and this guy named Porter Stansberry got up to speak. And Porter he works for a company called Agora Publishing. Some of you guys may know Agora. They're a financial newsletter company, and they do almost, not quite, but just shy of $1 billion a year selling digital newsletters on finance. Like crazy, almost $1 billion. And Porter, he runs the largest division at Agora. It's called Stansberry Research. And he got there and he was talking about the marketing they were doing. And it was really cool. He was showing the process and showing what their sales funnels look like and everything. And it was really cool. And I remember in the middle, he was talking and teaching, and then he kind of stopped and he said, you know what's interesting? He said, every single year there's people who come and they try to compete with us. They see that we're making hundreds of millions of dollars in all of our different divisions, and they want to compete. So they come in there and they're always trying to be smart, like, hey, I'm going to come and we're going to undercut their prices. They're at $50, we're going to be at $30. And they try to undercut everyone's prices. He said that, he's like, we've tested that. We know that you can't make your media profitable at $30. And they come and they test that and it doesn't work. And then they think, well, I'm going to make mine more expensive. And they try something else. And they try different upsells and downsells. And they try all these creative things to try to figure out how to beat Agora. He says, don't you understand? He said, we make almost $1 billion a year selling financial newsletters. We literally have hundreds of millions of arrows in our back. We've tested every price point, every upsell, every downsell, everything you can dream of. We have tested it. We know it works. He said, if you want to compete with us, you got to copy us. He said, because there's no way you're going to come up with something more creative than us. We've got the best copywriters, the best statisticians, the best everyone in the world working for us. The only way you can compete with us is to copy us. I remember thinking like, wow, if I was getting the financial newsletter market, like, why would I try to make something up? Okay, and so this is the key, guys. Is you don't want to try to be creative and try to figure things out. You want to find someone that's already successful in the market or the business that you're either in or you want to be in. Okay. Now, a couple things to understand first. Like, one thing that's really key to understand is that in every one of your businesses, there's two types of competitors. There's your direct competitors and there's your indirect competitors. Okay. For example, with our supplement, we sell a supplement that helps people with nerve pain, right? And so anyone else who's selling a supplement that helps nerve pain are my direct competitors. Okay. And I'm guessing most of you guys know who your direct competitors are, right? So you know exactly what they're doing. So you can see them really, really easily. But also it's important to look at what your indirect competitors are doing. And looking at that, because your indirect competitors a lot of times, like for our supplement, we found that like 80% of the people that were buying our supplement suffer from diabetes. So anybody else selling like diabetic products are my indirect competitors. So if they're selling diabetic testing strips or cookbooks or whatever, I need to know who those people are as well. So for you guys, you need to understand, you need to have a good lay of your market, like who are the competitors, who are your indirect competitors, and know who those people are. Okay. And after you find that, then you got to go and you got to funnel hack their funnels. Okay. And funnel hacking, it's a simple process. Basically, all I'm doing is I'm buying that person's product. Okay, I always tell people this, that the entrepreneurs, you got to be really, really good at pulling your wallet out of your pocket and pulling your credit card out and buying people's stuff. Okay, I do a whole presentation where we sell a course called Funnel Hacks that I talk in a lot of detail about this. But one of the biggest things that I talk about is like you can literally go and steal $1 million worth of somebody's testing and tweaking and all their ideas for like $100. Okay, and sometimes it's a lot cheaper than that. When we launched our supplement originally, I found this guy who was making about $3 million a month selling supplement, not to the same market we're in, but to, the same market, different supplements. It wasn't the same product, but to a different market, or the same market, different supplement, I apologize. And they were doing about $3 million a month. And so when I was starting to build out my sales funnel for this, I just I got to figure out what he's doing. So I went and I pulled my credit card out of my wallet. I bought his product. I looked at what the process was. I looked at what his product was, the upsells, the downsells, the price points, everything. And then when we created our funnel, I didn't try to be creative. I said, he's selling this for this much, I'm selling mine for that much. His upsell is this, my upsell is this. And we just modeled it as close as we could because that guy had already spent millions of dollars figuring out what works. So why in the world should I go waste my time and my energy, my money, just gambling and hoping that things are going to work? And so funnel hacking is big. So what's key for you guys is to kind of figure out, you need to find funnels that are either in the market you're in or, like, for example, let's say, some markets aren't as sophisticated, so you might not be able to find a tripwire funnel for a chiropractor, for example, which is understandable. But maybe you can find a tripwire funnel for a financial planner, and they're different, but you can tweak those and make them work for your business. Okay, so it's important to find those. One really cool service we're coming out with that'll help you guys with this process. If you're, as we're doing this live, it'll be coming out within the next month. For those who are watching, a recording of it is probably live right now. But we're launching a new podcast called funnelhacker.tv, where basically each week I'm going to bring somebody on who's got a funnel that's making crazy amounts of money, and we're going to let the person who built it, they're going to let us funnel hack them and say, this is my landing page, this is my upsell, this is my and just show everything. So each week we're going to show a new funnel. We're going to do tripwire ones, high tech, tons of them. And so it'll be a good resource for you guys to come look at funnels. And we're just going to have people open up their businesses, and so you can kind of see what they're doing, and then you can model it for whatever you're doing. So that's kind of the game plan. Now, for those of you guys who want to get started right now, though, or you're looking where do you find funnels to model? And there's a lot of ways. One thing I do is I go to Facebook and I go to all my competitors, all my indirect and my direct competitors, and I go to all their pages and I like them. And what happens when I start liking all the pages? All of a sudden, advertisers, I start getting advertising showing up for those products. Okay, now for you guys, I don't know about you, but I love ads. I'm kind of a weird guy. Like my wife, it drives her crazy. We're listening to the radio and all of a sudden the commercials will come on and she wants to turn the radio. I'm like, no, this is why we listen to the radio, for the commercials. This is where the money's at. And it drives her crazy. So I listen to the commercials and the music comes back on. I'm like, hey, you can change it now if you want. I love seeing the ads. You guys got to get good at loving to see the ads. So you go like everybody's pages, that your competitors, your indirect competitors, and all of a sudden you're going to start seeing ads pop up everywhere. And so you see an ad pop up, don't be annoyed with it, don't glaze by it. That's an opportunity. This is someone giving you millions of dollars of data and research for free. You see the ad, boom, time to stop everything you're doing and let's go buy it. You click on the ad, you see what the landing page looks like, and you look at it. I always take screenshots of every single thing because I want to remember. I look at the thing and then I fill in the form and I look at what happens, where did it take me, what email did it send me, what did the email say? Okay, now from here, what is it asking me to do? And I need to buy something. Okay, I'm going to buy it because I need to see the process, and I buy the product, and then I see what's the upsell, and I go as deep as I can in their funnel because every time I buy something, it might cost me a couple $100, but I usually get tens of thousands of dollars worth of data research instantly. So that's one big way, is make sure you're out there liking and friending and following all of your competitors, all your indirect competitors, because you're going to start seeing the ads. You're going to see what's working, and it gives you a really good model to funnel hack. The other thing I like to do well, and this doesn't work in all markets, but works in a lot of markets. There's a site called ClickBank.com, and ClickBank. We're here in Boise, Idaho. They're a local company here in Boise. And what's cool about ClickBank is they sell information products primarily. They're starting to branch into some other things, but the majority of their products are information products. And in their marketplace, they have over 100,000 successful sales funnels. They're all listed in there. It categorized based on what's selling the best and in each different market, each segment, which is really cool. So I can go to ClickBank.com, and literally they have funnels in almost anything you can dream of. This is one of my friend's funnels. He teaches people how to build chicken coops in their backyard. And I thought it was a joke when he first sent it to me. Turns out this is a really big market. And he created this little sales funnel up there. And again, I thought it was a joke. He showed me his PayPal statement. So he does about 12 grand a month selling plans on how to build chicken coops in your backyard. So literally anything you guys can dream of, you'll probably be able to find a funnel on ClickBank, even if you're selling chicken coops. So I go to ClickBank. At the top, there's a little button here. It says Marketplace. You click on that, and boom, it takes you to their marketplace. In the marketplace, you can see it shows all 100,000 plus sales funnels. But what's cool is first off, it breaks it down based on categories. So if you're in health and fitness, here's all the health and fitness ones. Here's all the business ones. Here's all the, I don't even know the other categories, a bunch of other categories, right? So you do that, and then it archives them here in the marketplace based on what's selling the most right now. And so you look at that and say, I know this funnel works because it's #1 in the marketplace, therefore it's making some money, okay? Now we don't ever really know how much money someone's making. There's some ways to guess though. So for example, this is the health and fitness category, which is one of the biggest categories on there. So they're selling a lot of stuff. But this #1 product here, this is one that was #1 as of today. It's called the Venus Factor, and it's a weight loss product for women. I don't know the guys that own this, but I have a friend who about a year ago, he had a product called Fat Loss Factor, and they made it to #1 in the ClickBank marketplace. And when they were in the #1 spot, they're making anywhere from $30,000 to $50,000 a day, every single day, like clockwork. And so I don't know what these guys are making. My guess is it's somewhere in that window. They're making a lot of money. Now every category is not going to be that intense. The weight loss category is their biggest category, but there's survival, there's business, there's a ton of other things. And so just know that if it's on the first page, especially the top 3 or 4, it's working, it's converting, it's making a bunch of money, which means it's a good funnel to go and to funnel hack. Okay, so to funnel hack it, all I got to do now is step number 2 is I got to just buy their product. Okay, and so I went and bought Venus Factors. This is their sales process, you guys. Those 4 pages make 40 to 50 grand a day. Okay, it cost me $47 to see all that. That's how to buy it. Okay, so there's the first page. Then they have an upsell for $37, upsell for $79, an upsell for $19.95. That's it. Okay, so if I was going to go in the weight loss market, I would look at this. Now, I wouldn't just look at it like, for me, I'm intense. What I personally do is I go, and this is the video sales letter, right? I usually get that video and I hire somebody to go and transcribe it and write out, so I can see like how they're pitching this product. Okay, because I might not be selling the weight loss product, but if I can see how they're pitching this product, maybe I can make something kind of similar. I can model the presentation, right? Then there's the upsell, and excuse me, back here. So not only that, I'm trying to figure out like what is their actual offer. Okay, this is a big key. A lot of you guys are like, I have a funnel, I don't know what to sell. Well, if you don't know what to sell, again, if you do this funnel hack process right, find out like, what is Venus Factor selling, okay? And you go through the thing like, okay, well they're selling, there's an ebook, it's about an 80-page ebook. They've got 13 videos covering these 4 or 5 things. They've got this. And you figure out what the actual offer is, and then you don't copy them, but if I know that a site that's making 50 grand a day, that the actual product they're selling $47 is an 80-page ebook, 14 videos, whatever. For me, I'm going to say my product needs to have an 80-page ebook, 14 videos, whatever. I'm just going to model it. Okay, I'm making my own content, my own everything, but I'm going to model the offer as close as I can because these guys have spent millions of dollars proving that this offer works. Okay, people ask me, how in the world are you successful almost every time you do one of these things? Because I don't guess. Okay, I find out exactly what's working and then we model it. I model, again, the price points. We're going to model the look and the feel, everything there. Same thing with the upsell. I see the upsell, okay, the price point that's working, they've proven to work is $37. I need a $37 product. What should my offer be? I'm going to watch the video, I'm going to see what they position their offer at, and make something similar. Okay? And again, I'm not saying copy, I'm saying using this as a template for you to know what you're supposed to be building. Okay? Same thing here and same thing all the way throughout. And so that's kind of the process, you guys. I had someone who joined our coaching program about a month ago, and I showed him a funnel. It's a funnel I'm going to show you guys here in a minute. It's making $1.7 million a month in the survival market. and he's in the golf market, and he had the ability to model this one really, really closely. And I showed him, I'm like, you need to go and buy this and look at everything and model it. And so he went and he bought it, and then he messaged me like 3 or 4 weeks later. He's like, I bought the thing, but I don't even know why you told me to buy that. I'm not in the survival market. And I'm like, okay, this is a funnel. It's making $1.7 million a month. It's not in the survival market, but it's a tripwire funnel, just like the one you're trying to build in the golf market. Like, I get that you're selling golf and he's selling, you know, like the world's coming to an end, but look at the process. Like, what's the price point? What does it look like? What's the upsell? What's it structured as? And so we kind of walked him through the process, and it's taken him a little while. He's a little slower kind of figuring it out. But I showed the exact same funnel to one of our other students who's in the gun market. And he went through and he tweaked it for his market, and boom, he modeled it really, really closely. Like, I'll show you the funnel here in a minute. But the tripwire was like a free credit card knife. The upsell is like a $20 a month survival newsletter and things like that. And this guy did it in the gun market. He made his tripwire is like these gun targets. His upsell is a $20 a month national gun membership site. So he's just tweaking, tweaking it for what his market is, but he's modeling what's already proven to work. What price points, what actually fulfilling on what the offer is. Does that make sense? And so that's kind of what we're looking at. So you buy their product is the second step there. And the third step for me is I like to sketch out this funnel. So after I've got that, I say, okay, this is a $47 product, so it's gonna be $47. This is gonna be a $37 upsell, $37. And so I just like sketching it out. And now when I have that sketched out, there's my blueprint. Now I know exactly what I need to create to come and compete. Okay, excuse me. And so that's kind of what I do. If you come into our office, I've got whiteboards on all of our walls. Like, I'm obsessed with whiteboards. And this is what we do is we sit down, we map out, we funnel hack someone, we go through the process. I take screenshots, everything, we map it on the wall. Like, that's what they have. Okay, now we see it. Now I need to go and make my product. So theirs was this. So what's our offer gonna be? We're gonna have it be this. This is what we're gonna make different and kind of map out what that's gonna be. And then here's theirs. And we model that, and all of a sudden now we've got a blueprint for what we need to use to go and create our new sales funnel. Does that make sense? So that's kind of the game plan. You sketch it out, and after you sketch it out, now we got the ability to go, as we'll talk about in the next session, go into ClickFunnels and actually build this. But for right now, I want to walk through sketching this funnel out. Okay. So what I did for you guys last night is I went and I funnel hacked a couple funnels, and so I'm going to show you guys these funnels. I'm going to walk through what they're doing, why they're doing it, some of the psychology, just to kind of get the wheels in your head spinning on how I look at these things. But then it's going to be kind of on your own side to go out there now and find more funnels and funnel hack your own and kind of figure out which ones you want to model as well. Okay, so first what I'm going to show you guys is some tripwire funnels. Okay, so this is my tripwire funnel. I funnel hacked myself. And it was funny, last night I couldn't actually find the pages to this, so I had to rebuy my own product just to figure out what my upsells were. Okay, and so this is what the process looks like. On the front end, we have a free plus shipping product. It's my book. People, I think they pay $9.95 shipping and handling. If you look at the page, there's a countdown clock, a video, the block right here, and there's a whole bunch of bullet points underneath what's in it, and that's what the page looks like. And then when you buy the product, then there's an upsell. Now, I was showing Mike this last night because I found like a whole bunch of variations. We tested, I think we tested 6 different upsell downsell flows before this funnel actually worked. And so again, you funnel hack me, you save 5 or 6 times of trial and error that I had to go through. So for this one, so this one is a book teaching people how to increase their conversions. Then our first upsell is our traffic product. So for $197, they get our traffic product, shows them how to get traffic. Our next one now is our sales product, teach them how to get sales. And they say no to that, and then we drop down and offer a payment plan. So that's kind of our funnel. Now, a couple of things I want to, that I wish somebody would have told me 10 years ago that helped me out a lot. With something like this, one of the things that we learned as we kept not doing the funnel right over and over again was I sold this at first, and somebody bought this book on split testing. So in my head, I was like, okay, they're interested in split testing. So I'm going to sell more stuff on split testing, right? Because they've already raised and had, I like split testing. So we made these upsells all about split testing, and guess what happened? Boom, like almost nobody bought. I was so confused, like why? They just told me they're interested in split testing. Why are they not buying this thing? I'm so confused. And I kept tweaking. We tried 3 or 4 variations of that, and none of them worked. And finally, I had this like aha one day. I said, you know what? If you have an issue with split testing, you buy this book, even though the book hasn't showed up yet at your house, in your mind, you've solved that problem, right? I got to fix my website. I buy the product. Boom, that problem's solved. Okay. And if my next episode is like, hey, I'm gonna show you some cool new ways to do conversion. You're like, but I just solved that problem. I bought this. My problem's already solved, right? They had an itch and they already got it scratched. And so what I started learning is that if you want your upsells to convert really, really well, the key is you can't sell more of the exact same thing. It does not work. Okay? You have to sell what's the next step in the process. Okay, so this one right here is here, I'm gonna help increase your conversions. Now they're like, boom, my conversion taken care of, this is awesome. And then my next thing right here said, hey, thanks so much for buying the book. When you ship this out, it's gonna help you learn exactly how to increase your conversions. But the next step people always ask me is, well, my conversions are increased, but how do I get more traffic? If I just had more traffic, this would be really, really easy, right? So in my mind, I'm saying, what's the next thing that they need? The next thing they need is conversion, is traffic, then I sell a traffic product. And we did that, and boom, this thing jumped to like 23% conversion rate instantly. Boom, just cash flowing in for us, right? So now they got traffic. Now in their mind, even though they don't have the product yet, in their mind, that itch has been scratched. Traffic's taken care of, I don't have to worry about traffic ever again, done. Okay, so what's the next thing? Well, if they have traffic, you got conversion, you got traffic, what else do you need? I need sales. It's the next thing in the process. And so you kind of build your funnel out that way when you're thinking about it. Okay, if you look at the weight loss guys, I funnel hack tons of those guys. What it's interesting is like usually on the front they'll lead with something like how to eat to lose weight, right? So someone buys that, now that itch has been scratched. The next thing is like I know how to eat now. What's the next thing? Well, now you need an exercise regime. Here's what you do for the exercise part of it. Okay, and then here's the next thing. So you look at like what are the pieces you're taking someone through to be able to give them the result you want. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's kind of how we structure this one. So for some of you guys, those of you guys who are in tripwire funnels, I want you thinking about this. Like, what's going to be your first thing here, and what are the next pieces? Now, one fatal flaw that a lot of people make when they're creating like tripwire, like front end offers, is they try to talk about a whole bunch of things. Okay, like a lot of times they say, here's my 36. Like for example, let's say for you, Becca, like here's 36 of my favorite juice recipes. Okay, the problem is like it's so big that it doesn't give you much room to go from there. Like what I found is best is to splinter off and take just like the best, the coolest, like the most interesting piece of it, right? We took out our split test, like that was like the most interesting part. Like for you, I would take out like just the Shrek shake. Like that's like this really cool thing. Like here's the shake that's like the most amazing thing. Let me show you just one thing. Like what's the one thing you're gonna get from this? If you stay around me for a lot, you hear me talk about it a lot. Like what's the one thing that we're talking about here? Like I don't want you to sell like 5 things or 6 things or 2 things even. Like what's the one thing somebody needs? And if you can figure that out, that's what makes really good tripwires. Here's the one thing you need. Okay, so that's our info product tripwire funnel. This is a survival credit card knife funnel. Okay, now this one's really fun to me. This is the funnel they have right now that's doing I think last I heard like $1.7 million a month. How many of you guys are like $1.7 million a month in extra income? Okay, in the survival market. So their tripwire, I showed you guys this earlier, their tripwire is this survival credit card knife. It gets somebody to raise their hand. And what's cool about this is a cool concept, is they take someone, they call it going from freemium to premium. Okay? If you look at how they did this initially, they're doing this credit card knife, and at first they were upselling a membership site, okay? Hey, thanks for buying a credit card knife for 20 bucks, I'm gonna give you access to our new membership site. When they did that, conversions were horrible. Excuse me, it never did well at all. And they kept trying and testing a whole bunch of things, right? They spent millions of dollars getting arrows in their backs. And so we have an opportunity now to come back and just be like, oh, what actually ended up working? What ended up working for them is this is a free credit card knife. Then their premium says, hey, thanks so much for giving the free credit card knife. By the way, I've got this other knife that's really, really awesome. They call it the Hoffman Richter knife, which is a big knife they pay like $1 for from China. And it's this big, huge knife. It's like, if you want this big knife, I'm gonna send it to you for free. Like, how many of you guys want this big knife? And these guys got a little knife, like, yeah, I want a big knife, that'd be awesome, right? And it's like, okay, we'll send you this big knife, but we only send this out to people who are part of our association. And for $20 a month, you can join our association. When you join, I'm gonna send you this free knife. Boom, that was what made it magic for them. I think right now they've got like 50 or 60,000 people paying them 20 bucks a month through that funnel. And so that was the key. So they went from freemium to premium, and that's how they got people from a physical product into an actual membership site, is by bribing them with something that was similar, just a little bit better, okay, which is kind of a cool funnel, or a cool concept. And then from there, they transition people to this other upsell. And this upsell, I funnel hacked this probably 20 times, and it's always changing. They're testing out different offers. One time it was like a food survival kit, like a 72-hour kit. This one right here is, I don't even remember this one is. Oh, like this battery kit, so that you can have unlimited battery power. And so they keep changing this out. I'm not sure which one's working the best for them, if they're running out of inventory, I don't know, so it kind of tweaks. But it's kind of cool to see that what they're selling is a physical product that's about a price point, I think about $100, that matches, again, this whole demographic, okay? So for you guys who are doing tripwires, this is kind of the process to start thinking about, okay, as you're kind of crafting this and kind of mapping out the pieces. Now in a minute here, after I go through the last 2 funnels, I'm gonna have you guys come back to to your blueprint here. And obviously you're not going to be able to funnel hack while we're sitting here live, but I am going to have you guys go through and think about that. For your tripwire, I got a little spot for notes, like what would my offer actually be? Okay, the upsell, what would my offer going to be? And just kind of mapping that out as the best guess as you can, and then obviously afterwards go and funnel hack some people and tweak that and make it exactly what you're going to need. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys the other two, and then we'll come back and let you guys go and kind of fill that in for the funnel you're going to be focusing on. All right, so that is the tripwire funnel. And yeah, like I said, I'll have you guys kind of take notes. So this is the process I do when we do in our whiteboards on the wall. I map out, here's the funnel, and I take notes. Okay, what I'm gonna do, this is the price point, this is what the offer is gonna be, and I list out all those things that I know, all the knowns that I have about that page, and then all the knowns about this one, and now I've got a really good blueprint of this is what I gotta create. If I create this, chances are, I might not be an overnight success, but chances are maybe pretty dang close, okay? Because I'm following something that's already proven. So there's tripwire. Number 2 is the perfect webinar. And I know about, I think 2 or 3 of you guys here are going to be focusing on perfect webinars. So this is kind of the process. These are a little harder to, not harder to funnel hack, but there's less steps in the process. There's not like upsell, downsell, things like that. But if you look at these, typically it works. There's a registration page. After that, someone sees a confirmation page. They show up at the webinar, and then you sell stuff. Okay. Now there's more pieces than that. There's email sequences and stuff that if you funnel hack me or if you funnel hack anybody else that I can show you guys, watch everything. Watch what emails they're sending. Watch, because all these pieces all tie into the funnel. Okay. All right. So perfect webinar. So this is an example of our funnel hacks webinar, and it's a very simple process. Page, they come here and they register for the webinar. Typically I do my webinars on Thursday because those convert the best for me. Which again, that's a concept you can funnel hack, right? Then, and what's cool is like different markets is different. Some markets, because people have trained people to get used to like Tuesdays or early in the afternoon or late at night, like in your market, find out what people are doing, because a lot of times people have kind of trailblazed those things for you and figured out for your market, this is the best time to do things, the best day or things like that. So you got that. After some registers, there's a welcome video. Now for here, if you watch my video, I give them homework. I tell them what to do. I have them go get a free trial account to our software, a bunch of things like that. And then from there, I do my webinar, which obviously you guys have the book. So if you want to funnel hack my actual webinar, the script's in here in the perfect webinar, and it shows you guys exactly how I structure and how we do our actual webinars. But that's the funnel. So these 3 pages right here, you guys, like I said, from when we launched Funnel Hack Webinar to now, it's been over $2 million. So it's worth going and just funnel hack it. The process works, right? When Liz launched her webinar, guess what she did? She said, hey Russell, can I funnel hack you? I said, yes, of course you can. And I just gave her my pages, and she looked at it, and then you look at her pages, like the look and the feel is almost identical. Instead of orange, hers are blue. Instead of her picture, instead of my picture, she has her picture. Instead of my headline, she changed things out, but the process is the same. Okay, her webinar is almost identical to mine. If you like looked at her webinar versus mine, you know she followed the perfect webinar script to a T. Like she did almost everything. The way she did her stack, the way she did her close, everything was the same as mine. It's just she plugged in her product instead of mine, and boom, almost overnight she's successful. Okay, so this is hopefully I'm re-emphasizing this enough how important it is, you guys, to find what's already working and just model it as close as you can. Because that's kind of how webinars. So again, same thing, after you do this, go out and map out the pages, the confirmation page. If you actually go through my webinar funnel, which I recommend you do, because it would be good for you guys to buy my products and to be sold. No, but really, like, if you do, like, a couple cool things, like this is kind of the surface level stuff, but it gets deeper. When somebody registers, between registration and them watching the webinar, they get 3 different video pages. I'm gonna hint towards this stuff, but you guys have to go out and actually find it on your own, okay? I want you guys doing some spy work to find it. There's 3 videos that I give people between the time they register to the time the webinar happens. I call it an indoctrination sequence. It gets them prepared for the webinar, gets them more likely to buy. Okay, those are the things, like when you're building this out, if you're looking at my process, look at the emails, look at the pages I'm sending people. What am I doing before the webinar? What am I doing after the webinar? How am I getting people to buy who don't show up at the webinar? What am I doing? If you look at that whole stuff, you guys, then you've got your blueprint, a perfect blueprint that you can just fill in the blanks with what you're doing. Okay, I had some of you guys know John Asseroff. He was on the TV show the movie The Secret. And anyways, I talked to him at an event, and he's like, yeah, I've got this new funnel we put out that's just crushing it, and it's tons of money. And I was like, oh, cool. I was like, what's the main website? And he told me the main website. I'm like, oh, cool. And then like that night I run to my room. I'm like, all right, quick, funnel hack it. Boom, I like register for the thing. First email came in to my Gmail. I set up a special folder, and I filtered all emails coming from his email address into that thing. And boom, I saw the entire email sequence come through. I went through every single page, went through every single thing. And like within a week, I had every single thing that, I mean, he'd spent insane amounts of time thinking through it and figuring it out and figuring out, testing stuff. And I just got it for free. It didn't cost me anything. okay? Because I'm always doing this. So for you guys, it's like, I don't know, I feel like I'm a spy or something. I'm going through, but it's totally legal to do. There's nothing unethical about it. People, it's out there for you to look at. And my big thing, don't be unethical. I don't want you or anyone like it drives me crazy when people like take my PowerPoint slides and they steal images. Those things drive me crazy. Like, don't do that. You're not stealing images or copy or anything. You're modeling the process. That's the key. The look, the feel, the price points, all those elements that they've proven that works, and you plug in with your copy, your product, your things like that. But again, there's so many pioneers that have gone ahead of you guys, okay? Again, 12 years I've been doing this. 12 years I've gotten so many arrows in my back. And you guys can go out there and try to trailblaze it on your own, or just model me, model other people, model people in your market who've already done that. There's no reason for you to go and try to reinvent the wheel at this point. So that's kind of fun. All right, and then the high ticket funnel. This is kind of the funnel where we sell our more expensive stuff. So this is the way we do our funnel. It's kind of a 3-step funnel. Garrett White, the one I showed you guys a little earlier today, he does a 4-step, and it's just one extra step, and it's kind of a cool thing. So, but this is how mine works. The initial page, I lead with a video testimonial from somebody, like a case study video of somebody else talking about how great I am. Okay, the worst thing the biggest thing that drives me crazy when people are selling high ticket coaching is they get online and they talk about how great they are, and then ask you to give them money. Like, it seems slimy to me, I don't know. So I like having someone else talk about me, because it's like an indirect referral. So all of a sudden Tony Robbins or Liz or whoever I got a video of, I think I have 12 different versions of this page. I have just a different video on each page. The rest of the page is identical, but just a different video on each one. We drive traffic to there. Tony says, Russell's awesome. This says, click here to apply. They click to apply. And then next step here is I have a video that I want them to watch while they're filling it out, which is just a whole bunch of people talking about the results they got through our coaching. Because right now, if you think about the psychology, someone came in, they're kind of nervous, and they start the process, and they come in, they're like, okay, there's a big long form I got to fill out, and they're kind of nervous, and I want to give someone confidence that this decision they're going to make to fill out this form and click submit, that it's the right decision. And so I'm trying to take away all the fear and nervousness from them. And so we have a video here, and this is a long video, but it's got a whole bunch of testimonials, people just talking about their process, how well it went, what happened. So they watch this video, and then there's an application here where they apply. And after they apply, they click submit. Then the last step here in mine is I have a homework page. And this homework page is pre-selling all the people who then are going to get on a call with one of my salespeople. And so they watch a video here of me. The guy that made this video got me crying my eyes out. But a video of me telling my story about when my wife and I, when we couldn't have kids, and there was a business owner who put themselves out there and got on Oprah, and we found out about them. We were able to go to their clinic, and the gift that we got, because they were willing to market their business, we got twin boys from that. And I share this story, and I talk about how for me, like my superpowers, I can't go and teach people jiu-jitsu, or I can't teach people how to do shakes. I can't do those kind of things. Like, you guys all have superpowers in what you're doing. My superpowers, I can help people get their message out to more people. I talk about that in this video, and I just kind of share a really true personal video about myself. And I think for all of you guys at this spot, like the homework page, this is the first time that they're really talking to me directly, and I'm just telling them why I love them, why I care about them, like why I'm here to serve you, because it means that much to me. And it prepares them for when they get on the phone. And I can't tell you how many people have, like Simon Cryer, big tough guy, lives down in Australia. He said that he's like, filled with application, saw your video crying, and I knew I was spending some money. Like, he's like, I wanted to be closer to you. I wanted to, like, whatever you had, I wanted it. And it gives you the ability to be really real for yourself. So making videos of yourself, I know it's scary. It was really embarrassing for me to like cry on camera and let alone show it to thousands of people. But it makes you real and makes people believe you. So that's kind of what my coaching funnel looks like, okay? And so you look at, if you're building a coaching funnel, boom, video success story of someone that's had success through your system. A video here of case studies of what's happening, and then your homework page where, again, I show them a video kind of explaining why I love them, why I want to work with them, and then give them some assignments to do, which is basically go watch some videos and get prepared for the call that's going to happen. And so that's kind of what our funnel looks like, our coaching funnel. Okay? So again, if you're going to be doing a high ticket funnel, look at mine, look at some other people's, map them out, and then write the notes. What do I need? I need to get Julie's testimonial video done. I need to have this. Over here, I need to get blah, blah, blah. Here, I need to make a video myself. You got the process. Now I can funnel hack that and go and actually build it out. Cool? All right, so that is kind of the process of how we funnel hack. Now I know you guys, you haven't had a chance to go out there and actually funnel hack yet, but I know that hopefully from what I shared, you got some ideas and things kind of going through your head, right? So I want you guys right now in your blueprint, take it out, and earlier on step number 2, you picked which funnel you're working on first, either tripwire, perfect webinar, or high ticket. So what you guys right now is come over here, and whichever one you picked, grab that one right now, and then kind of take notes as what you've been thinking about. Like my tripwire is going to be this, or my webinar is going to be like this and kind of map out for each step in that funnel, just the basic notes you have on top of your head of what that funnel is going to look like. And I want you guys to do that, capture that right now while you're while it's top of your mind. So do that real quick, and then we'll take a break after that.
All right, so what I got out of this thing from funnel hacking is I'm going to try to do a trigger funnel. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a shake we have right now, and we have samples for it. We have samples for the shake. And I'm going to put 5 of the different flavors together and then put a week's supply of those together and sell those for like $40. And then, because they'll lose weight if they drink the shake, they'll end up losing weight, 3 or 4 pounds, maybe that. Then I'm going to upsell them into one of our workouts. We have a workout called 10-Minute Trainer that basically they can get a pretty good workout in just 10 minutes a day, and that produces another level of faster weight loss for them. And then I thought, well, then we have a package I can put together that has a bigger workout, more stuff, got some bands and things like that, and then a full month supply of the shake. So then I can upsell them to the shake because we offer 100% money back guarantee. So then I can get them into buying the bigger package, which is about $169. And if I can get the videos done properly and everything in the sequence, I think that'll work pretty good. And then I thought maybe because we have a thing called Get Paid to Lose, and because you can get paid when you become a distributor with our company, so I could probably upfront the business opportunity after I get them through the process, realizing that when you're working out and people start noticing you're losing weight, they're going to start asking you what are you doing to lose that weight, or if you start getting more energy, then I'm going to sit there and tell them, well, now you can get paid when you tell those people what you're doing. So I'm going to try that. I think that would be pretty cool.
And I chose the tripwire, and people I have found want to eat healthy, they just don't know how. And so what we're going to do is put it together in a jumpstart guide to teach them how to get started in eating healthy. Being healthy shouldn't be rocket science, right? Then we're going to upsell them into a $97 detox program to teach them how to flush out all the toxins and improve their health from there. And then from there, we're going to go to a membership continuity program.
So we chose to do the tripwire because we think that it's going to be important to help people get the product into their hands first and foremost. So our initial sell is going to be teaching them about their soil and have a guide to teach them about their soil a little bit, because most people don't understand what needs to happen there. The second is going to be to sell them Soil Pro to get a gallon or 2 or whatever it is. And the upsell, I think a lot like the neuropathy support supplements, things like that, is going to be to sell them more bottles so that they can have a loading phase on their lawn or their garden or trees, saving a tree, iron blight, all that stuff. So that's what we're going to do.
And so out of the gates, what we're doing with like low testosterone, it's the perfect webinar funnel is the best way to go, because we're able to put together a quick quiz that somebody can take online, and you can see if they've got belly fat, if they're not strong, if they feel depressed. And that's a lot of folks. And so they fill out the quiz, and then we're able to actually invite them onto the webinar. And so from there to the webinar, the perfect webinar at the end, we stack it basically with what's provided for them, but we don't actually put the prices on that webinar. Because what we want to do is for people to see exactly what we're providing and then apply. And once they've applied, we can put them into a specific coaching program. So we've got single mothers, we've got Ironman triathletes, so a lot different protocol for those individuals.
So I'm putting together the perfect webinar funnel, really how to leverage G+, Facebook, and YouTube for maximum exposure to get maximum exposure to your ideal client. So that's going to be the title of the webinar. We'll run this webinar. We'll have a confirmation page. The confirmation page will have a add to my calendar button on it. That'll drive them to the webinar with the reminders. I'm going to have an application at the very end of the webinar that's really geared towards my specific avatar. So really to kind of sort and sift the people that we want to attract, and there'll be three tiers of offers after that application. So that's what we're going to roll with.
The end goal for me is to have agents join my brokerage, especially the ones that I'm looking for, the ones that fit the perfect demographic. And so I feel like the tripwire is the best way to get started, because it starts building a relationship. A couple of the ideas that stood out to me right off the bat would be something that wasn't really intrusive, like a personality quiz. or a real estate marketing analysis. And then after that, whether it be a webinar or just a video series where they can become familiar, and then also just staying in front of them with an email marketing chain, I think that would be really the way to go.
With our funnel, basically what we do is we start them with obviously a landing page where we invite them to the free webinar. We do the confirmation. What I'm going to add in that we don't have is the email intensification sequence, where basically what we'll do is get them excited about the webinar videos, either from me or from patients that I've had the opportunity of working with and helping. And then we do the webinar. During the webinar, we invite them to work with me, and they start with an initial test. It's a diagnostic test that they can do. They do that, and then once they've paid for that test and we've done the interpretation and initial consult with them, then they can buy supplements through me and personal coaching.
I had several ideas on a bunch of these, but I think the first thing would be the tripwire funnel. I have a new book that I'm going to be coming out with. It's called Jiu-Jitsu for Life, and it's basically, this whole funnel is geared towards beginners, and Jiu-Jitsu for Life is kind of a philosophical book on how beginners can come into martial arts and actually survive to get their black belts in Jiu-Jitsu, because it's a grappling martial art that requires a lot of contact, and so this would help brand new people to be able to survive in that. And what we would do is we would do a shipping and handling kind of situation for the free book, give that away, and then we go right on in, as an upsell, go right on into the 25 things that all brand new people need to know that they might be getting in their school, but not the real details of how to make them work in class, how to make the move work in class. And then I thought we would go up another level. It would be $37 for the specialty videos right there, and then we would go up to $197, and I would then heap on all of the videos that I've ever done. I think that I just have sitting around, and they can have those, and there's quite a lot of them. But I would also include a new video series that I'm doing for them as well. That's like on lapels. That's a gi situation. We wear the gi, and I think it's quite innovative, and I think they would like that, and that would be for $197. And then the last one would be maybe an opportunity to get into an inner circle kind of situation where they can come to my school for a week or something like that, where a free webcast, they can get on the webcast. Or I just don't know quite how to finish it right there. This was off the top of my head, but I think it's just that last little piece is probably come to my school for a week, $4,000 or $5,000 or something like that.
I'm doing the high ticket funnel. Really simple. I'm just going to have a testimonial page that's going to be a case study from one of my clients who's done really well on Facebook and the Google Display Network. Then I'm going to go straight from there to an application page where they're going to fill in just a small questionnaire. And then after that, I'm going to go straight to a homework page where it's going to be 2 or 3 videos that build up my product, build up the brand, and show them kind of what's possible with expanding your media or like growing a company based on winning Facebook campaigns, and really open their eyes. I think from there, I'll have my guys contact them and then close the deal.
So as far as our funnel, I think we're going to do the tripwire. And the first thing we're going to do is a free plus shipping offer. And then we'll get them into a continuity program. And then after that, maybe an upsell into like a complimentary cream or something like that. And then the one place that we've been messing up is we need to have an email sequence that goes out after they buy the pills.
Okay, we covered a lot of stuff so far. We've covered, talked about your dream client, how to get the results for them initially, and then from there, what type of funnel you're going to use, and then from there, funnel hacking other funnels to find out what the offers and the price points and what that process is going to look like. And then we went to ClickFunnels, we built it out. So now you got all these pieces that are done. The last step is, how do I get people now to come to this website and give me money, right? That's kind of the last step in the process. And so there's been a lot said and taught about how to drive traffic. And for me, most of the ways that people teach how to drive traffic to a website, super technical, super complicated. I'm not a big techie person. I don't, you know, you guys have been here, you see, I tell a lot of stories, and that's kind of how my world works. And traffic for me is a little bit different. So I'm going to explain to you guys how I look at traffic. And I think if you understand the principles I'm going to kind of share with you, it makes it where getting traffic becomes really, really easy. And that's kind of the goal, because the traffic is the fuel. You get the most amazing funnel in the world, but nobody's showing up. no money's going to come in, right? You can't serve anybody at that level. But if you can get people coming in, then it can grow really, really quickly. So the way that I look at traffic, like I said, it's a little different. And I learned this concept initially from a guy named Chet Holmes. And Chet wrote a book called The Ultimate Sales Machine. And it's an amazing book, you guys. It's worth the 10 or 12 bucks on Amazon to get it. But in that book, he talks through a whole bunch of stuff. But there's one chapter in there that really had a huge impact on me and my company. It was a chapter called The Dream 100. And what Chet talked about here, and the way that he uses the Dream 100 is different than the way that I use it. But I want to explain how he did it because it'll help you understand how we use it here inside of our company. So what Chet did, Chet started working for a billionaire. His name is Charlie Munger. And Chet ran one of his magazine divisions. And at the time, I think that, I can't remember exactly the number, I think they were like number 15th out of 15th magazines. Like they were the worst in the entire industry. And Chet's job was to get advertisers to advertise in their magazine. And at first, you know, for years people have been trying to get people to advertise and they were always struggling. And Chet came in and said, well, who in our industry, look, I looked at all the other newsletters, like who are the advertisers spending the most amount of money? And he said, I want to know the top 100 advertisers in our market. And so he sat down and he wrote down like this guy and figured out who the top 100 advertisers were that potentially could be in their magazine but weren't. So he built out his Dream 100 list. Then he took that list and he started relentlessly marketing to these people. So what he did is he'd send out something in the mail every week, or he sent something in the mail, and then 2 weeks later he'd call him on the phone. Then 2 weeks later he'd send out something in the mail again. Then 2 weeks later he'd call him on the phone, and he relentlessly did this to his Dream 100 over and over and over again. In the first month, they got no clients. Second month, no advertisers. Second month, no new advertisers. Third month, nothing. And after 6 months, they finally got their first advertisers in. Within a year, they had like 20 or 30 of the top advertisers. And 3 years in a row, doing nothing but this Dream 100 concept, Chet doubled Charlie Munger's, this division's company 3 years in a row. And he tells the story, it's kind of funny. He said that Charlie Munger brought him afterwards and was like, are you doing something illegal? Because it's not physically possible to double a company 3 years in a row. And he's like, no, I did this Dream 100 concept. And so when I first heard this, I was like, oh, it's really, really cool. But I'm like, I'm not really going after, for my company, some of your companies you might be. And if so, then follow it the way Chet did. But for me, I wasn't trying to get to close one client at a time. What I wanted is I know that there are people out there that have my dream clients on their lists, or they're reading their blogs or listening to their podcasts, and they're out there. And I started making Dream 100s of people that have my target audience in their universe, in their world, right? So like what people have big email lists of my dream clients. And I started mapping out my Dream 100 list. And I started going through and started building it out. And so I kind of give you guys on the blueprint here, I have a little exercise I'm gonna have you guys go through, but I kind of break it down into 4 different categories. The first one I look for are people who are list owners, okay? In my market, I'm in who are the people that own lists, okay? And if you don't know that, it kind of comes back to the whole funnel hacking thing. You need to go out there and find out who your competitors, buy their products, subscribe to lists, see that stuff, because then you start seeing the emails coming, you'll find out who are the actual list owners that are in your world. Okay, you want to map out as many of those people as possible. Second are the bloggers. Okay, in your sphere of influence, the market you want to be in, I promise you there are bloggers talking about your topic. Okay, and I'm going to list out all the different bloggers that are my Dream 100. Because if I can get a blogger to write a blog post about my product, boom, sales and traffic are going to come almost instantly, right? Same thing with podcasts. Podcasts are like radio stations, okay? And a lot easier to get a hold of people that are on podcasts than radio stations. So who are the top 10 or 15 or 20 different podcasters in my market? And look at social media. Who's got the biggest Facebook followings, the biggest Twitter followings, the biggest YouTube channels? Like, I want to know exactly who those people are. And I build this Dream 100 list of all my potential clients. Now, I know for me, looking back over the last 10 years, is that there's no way I'm going to get all Dream 100 to go and promote my product. Like, it's just not physically possible. But what is possible is to get a percentage. If I get 1 or 2 or 3 people to do a deal with me, like I've had partners who I worked on this for a year, 2 years, 3 years, and finally they say yes to something and they'll make me $1 million from one partnership. And so it's important to understand that each of these people are real people, and each one can be worth a lot of money. And they can bring you tons of new clients and just bring new people into your world. So it's kind of important. So the first step in this is identifying, like, who are my Dream 100? I need to have a list of who those people are. Okay, so that's kind of the first step, is building that out. The second step in this process is really understanding, like, how can I get to know these people? How can I serve these people? How can I build a relationship? Okay, I was talking to Mike yesterday about this a little bit, about business. And before I got into business, I assumed that business was all like math and techniques and stuff like that. And the reality is it's not. It's relationships. And so when I built my Dream 100 list, I knew that I wanted to get to know these people. I got to figure out, like, I need them to know who I am. I need to have a relationship if I'm going to ask them to do stuff for me. You can't just call someone about the blue and be like, hey, I've got this new product. Will you promote it? It doesn't work that way. I would say on average right now, we probably get, I'd say between 30 and 40 phone calls and emails a week from people contacting me asking me to promote their products. People I don't know who they are. And they all go to my gatekeeper and she just tells them all no and they disappear because they don't have a relationship with me. But I tell you what, the people I have a relationship with, if they text me and they're like, hey, I got this thing, what do you think? Like, I'll respond to that because I have a relationship with them. So my first step after I build out my Dream 100 is like, how can I build a relationship with these guys? I need to figure out, I need them to know who I am. I need to know that I'm providing value and I'm serving them because that's a big key. And sometimes it's kind of hard, like you figure someone's got a huge list, like how do you provide value to that person? Or they've got these things. And so there's different ways to do it. One strategy I'll kind of share really quick, just really briefly that I recommend all you guys doing is starting your own podcast. I know that might be scary for some of you guys, but when you have your own podcast, think about it, it's like your own radio show. It's simple to make. You can make it in your house. You can make it, I have my podcast I make in my car when I'm driving. Like it's a simple thing to do, but a podcast is a platform for you. Okay? And when you have a platform, you can invite people to come to that platform, and by doing that, it provides value for them. Okay? For example, one of the seasons of Celebrity Apprentice, Arsenio Hall was one of the guys, and he actually ends up winning Celebrity Apprentice the year that he was in it. But I remember like in the middle of the season, there was a task, it was a fundraising task that needed everyone to go call all their rich buddies and try to raise money. And so everyone's out there calling people and getting tons of money, and Arsenio Hall sitting on the couch calling person after person after person and didn't raise a single penny. And he was so frustrated because he's like, I'm Arsenio Hall, I've got the biggest Rolex people in the world, but nobody returned my call. And at the very end of that, he said this thing that was so powerful. He said, when I had my own show, everyone returned my call. And I thought, like, how powerful, how prolific is that? Okay, when you have your own show, everyone returns your call. So all of a sudden, I got my own podcast. I started, even if I have 0 subscribers, I can start calling my Dream 100 and say, hey, I've got a cool podcast. It's called blah, 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 blah. I'd love to interview you on here. You might say, they might say no, but they might say, sure, I'd love to, because what is it for them? It's a platform. It's a platform for them to come and just share. You have a chance now to interact with them and interview them for half an hour, whatever it is, and all of a sudden you provide a value, you get them a platform, you build a relationship, and now I've infiltrated my Dream 100. Okay, the funnel hacking podcast, the funnel hacker podcast we're launching. That's one of the big strategies for me is to go out there and to penetrate all these different people and to build relationships in a whole bunch of different markets. Like that's one of my things. I want to penetrate my Dream 100 deeper and deeper. Okay, so it's a really powerful strategy. It's free to set up. It's easy to do. So that's like one idea on a way to do that. Okay. So that's one thing. Second thing that we do is after we built out our Dream 100, I like to be in constant communication with them. I want them to hear from me and to know who I am. And so we do a lot of really cool things. Some months I just send them gifts in the mail. Like I send them a book, or I might send them just random things just to be cool, because people like cool people, right? So I send them random cool gifts. Another month I do promotional things. For example, when we launch ClickFunnels, everyone on my Dream 100, actually right now my list is 202 people. So as I meet new people, I keep adding to this list, and then they're just once a month we mail them something. And so for example, we launched ClickFunnels. This was a mailing piece that I mailed out. I had this and a really cool t-shirt, and I sent this out to all my Dream 100. And I actually sat down in my car, took like 5 hours, and I recorded a personal video of me to every single person on my Dream 100 list. I said, hey Mike, how's it going, da, 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 and I made a video, and then I preloaded them on this card. So when they got the card, they opened it up and checked this out.
Hey Vision, hope you're an awesome man. I want to make you this quick video for 2 reasons. First off, as you may or may not know, we're launching ClickFunnels here in September. And
is that cool? So I recorded that for Vishen Lakhani, the owner of Mind Valley. I couldn't get his address. He was all over the place. So I brought this as an example. But I made a personal video for everyone on my Dream 100. They sent it out to me. And how many of you guys think that these guys called me back afterwards? Not only did they call me back, almost everyone that got one of these in the mail thought it was so cool. They made a video of them opening it up and showing it off, and then they posted it on Facebook, and all their friends saw it, all their followers saw it, and these things went viral. It was like the coolest thing in the world, and it was a way that I got into people, okay? These things cost me like $30 in China. We ordered like 100 of them, cost me $3 grand, preloaded the video, shipped them out, and boom, it was a powerful impact to my Dream 100. They know who I am, right? That was the first thing. Now, I look as we've been launching the book. When I launched this, I was launching my book, I did the same strategy. Okay, I took my book. I ordered 200 pre-release copies of it. Took that. I wrote this little 2-page sales letter that just says, "Yes, I'm giving away my Ferrari F430 Spider to whomever can help me give away the most copies of my book." And I tell them, "Hey, you guys, you're part of my Dream 100. We're doing a big book launch. Whoever gives away the most books gets a free Ferrari. If you're interested, let me know." Send this out to everybody, and just 4-page sales letter I wrote really quick. Sent it out to my Dream 200, my Dream 202 now, and guess what happened? People are posting pictures all over Facebook. I got Russell's book. I got a pre-release copy, and they're all excited, all these things. And we got tons and tons of people lined up to promote this. Now, the book launch for you guys who are here live is happening in 2 weeks from yesterday. Those of you watching, it will already have happened. We're trying to get on the New York Times bestseller list, and I have to sell about 11,000 copies of the book to hit the New York Times bestseller list. Right now, I've got 202 people, each of them who have a big following, who are going to be competing for a Ferrari. And I think I'm going to sell more than 11,000 copies of the book, but it's because I'm working my Dream 100, right? So I sent this out to everybody about a month ago, but people are forgetful, especially your Dream 100. They're so busy, they don't care about yourself, so I want to keep in front of them. So then, this is the letter. It's actually going out today. I ordered 200 of these little Ferrari keychains off of Amazon, and then I have a letter right here. It says, hey, here's the keychain for your new Ferrari. And it kind of talks about, don't forget the dates are coming up. You're going to look awesome. If you have any questions, let me know. And so this is going out in the mail today. And within 2 or 3 days, I'm going to see some popping up on Facebook, like, check it out, my Ferrari keys are here. And people are going to go crazy. Okay, but this is the way that like I'm constantly communicating with my Dream 100. And sometimes it's stuff like this, asking for them to promote. Sometimes it's just sending out gifts. Sometimes it's constant communication. So every single month, they're hearing from me. Okay, and so for you guys, like, you need to be doing, like, build a Dream 100 list, and you need to have some kind of way where you're, I mean, it can be email, but I like having things that are unique because I don't read most of my emails. I don't know about you guys, but every time FedEx guy shows up in my house or my office, like, I drop everything. I can be in the middle of a webinar, like, hey everyone, hold on, I'll be right back. UPS is here, and I'll go. Like, that's how important it is for packages for me. So like, that's the way that we kind of do that. Okay. Now the last step of the Dream 100, because I had someone ask me this at an event recently. It was cool. They said, "This is cool, Russell, but I built a list of 100 people, and like, I'm trying to communicate with them, build relationships, and it's a lot of work. Like, how in the world do you juggle 100 or 200 relationships, and how do you do that? And how do you like, I want to start making money today. I don't want to wait 6 months or a year from now to have a relationship." And so I told him a story that I think will help you guys as well, because I don't have to get 100 people to love me. I just got to get one. If I can get one cool kid to think I'm cool, it'll penetrate this Dream 100 and make you more money than you can ever dream of. For example, well, to kind of illustrate this actually, have any of you guys seen the movie Never Been Kissed with Drew Barrymore? Only the one woman in the room. Two people, Chad. No, I've never seen it. Anyway, the premise of the movie, Drew Barrymore goes to high school. She's a super nerdy person. All her friends called her Josie Grossi, and she was like a loser, right? Graduates from high school, becomes a reporter. Now she's like happy because she's out of high school. And then her boss comes to her and says, "We need a story about what high school kids are doing nowadays. You're going to go undercover and go back to high school." And so she goes undercover, goes back to high school, and instantly she slips back into being a nerd. And she's like reporting back, like, well, the chess club's doing this, and da da da. And they're like, these are stupid stories. We want stories of the cool kids. Like, you need to get in with the cool kids. And she's like, it's not that easy to get in with the cool kids. And then fast forward, her brother, who's being played by David Arquette, he's like jealous because he was like a jock in high school and he's been a loser since then. He's like, I want to be back in high school. So he enrolls in the high school to like slip in and like become cool again. And she says to him something like it's not that easy just to become cool again. And he's like, yeah, it is. Check this out. And then they're in the school cafeteria and they have these big tubs of coleslaw. And he stands on the table with this cup of coleslaw and he's eating the entire thing, like downing it to his mouth. And the entire like cafeteria is cheering and screaming for him. He slams the coleslaw down and like instantly he's like the coolest kid in the whole thing, right? And then this is where the power is after he's become cool. Then he starts going to all his friends and say, you see that girl Josie over there? Man, we used to date, but she broke up with me. She's amazing. And she told 1 or 2 cool kids, and suddenly, boom, she was into the cool kids crowds, okay? Now, every one of your markets, you guys, I promise you, there's some kind of good old boys club. Okay, in every market you want to be in, then they're there, and it's hard to penetrate it. But after you penetrate it, it becomes really easy now to infiltrate it, okay? For example, one of my buddies, his name's Telman Knutson, and I met him initially. He called me probably, 8 or 9 years ago, called me up on the phone. He's like, hey, Russell, I got this idea. I want you to promote it. And he told me the idea, and I thought it was the stupidest idea in the world. I said, nope, but thanks for calling. I kind of hung up. And then I didn't hear anything from for like 3 or 4 months. And all of a sudden, one day out of the blue, I saw like 50 people all email to this thing that he had created. And I was like, what in the world? And I was looking at email after email, all this stuff. And I was like, that's that weird Telman guy that called me. I'm like, I was looking, I'm like, that was the idea he pitched on me. Like, that idea was stupid. Like, why are people doing it? I was so confused. And anyway, I called him afterwards. I'm like, I just got to ask you, like, because I totally shut you down. How'd you get all these people to say yes? And he said, you know what happened? He said, I got on the phone. He's like, I called the first person. They told me no. Called the second person. They said no. Third person, no. Fourth person. He's like, you told me no. Everyone told me no. He said, the 49th person I called, his name's Kevin. He said, I told Kevin, and Kevin said, that's pretty cool, man. I'm in. He said, as soon as the first person said yes, they said, I called the next guy and said, hey, I'm doing this project. Kevin's in. Do you want to be in as well? And the second guy said yes. And the third guy said yes. Said every person after that said yes. And it just changed the whole paradigm. And so for you guys, I want you to think about it like, I'm building this list and I don't have to get everyone. It's not, I don't want it to be this huge overwhelming task, but I want you to have this as the target and start building relationships, because as soon as you get into one person, that person can introduce you to the next and to the next, and it starts opening up a whole world of opportunities, okay? So that's the next thing. Now the last thing I want to share with you guys is because a lot of times, no matter how good you get at getting inside this Dream 100, sometimes the people are never going to promote for you. Okay, for example, Tony Robbins has been in my Dream 100 forever. And I've had a chance to speak at his events, I've had a chance to hang out with him a bunch of times, like I've done a bunch of things, but I know that Tony will never email his list saying, hey, buy Russell Brunson stuff. Like, it's probably not ever going to happen, okay? But what's cool is that now Facebook and other traffic sources, more of them are coming on board. I can go to facebook.com and I can see Tony's got, whatever, 1.5 million followers. And because he's on my Dream 100, I know that. Facebook will allow me to go and say, hey, show my ad to all of Tony Robbins' 1.5 million subscribers. And instantly in their newsfeed, they see my ad. Boom, boom, boom. And so I start going through my Dream 100 and see who's got Facebook followings, who's got Twitter followings, who's got a big YouTube channel. And I don't even have to ask those people if I don't want to. Okay? These platforms will allow me to go and infiltrate these people immediately. So if I can't get them to promote, or even if I can get them to promote, I'm also going directly through the ad networks to all of a sudden target this guy's list and this guy's list and boom, boom, and start going through this whole thing. And that's how we start driving traffic. Is that exciting, you guys? Yeah. So for me, 100% of it comes off of my Dream 100. Okay? I'm not talking about keywords or all this other crap that most people talk about for traffic. My initial thing is, boom, who is my Dream 100? I got to identify who those people are. After I know who those people are, for me, I'm doing a podcast to build relationships. I'm sending them stuff in the mail every single month. I'm trying to get people to say yes, promote my thing, my webinar, or whatever, and I leverage that to the next one and the next one. And then I'm going to all my social media markets and I'm targeting other people with my offer. And that's the magic. That's how we went from a little tiny company to a company now that does over $1 million a month, is by doing this process. And so that's kind of what the Dream 100 is. So what I want you guys to do right now is on the blueprint we only have 20 spots, because I know I don't want to spend a ton of time. It'll take a while for you to build out a full Dream 100. It took me, I've been building mine out for years. But I want you to think right now, at the top of your head, like, who are the list owners you know? Okay, and some of you guys may be like, if you're a local business, you might say, well, I don't know any list owners. But I promise you guys that, for example, a chiropractor, right? If you're a chiropractor in your own local city, you may not know other chiropractic people, but who else has your target market on their list? Okay, if you're a chiropractor, does the weight loss clinic down the street, do they have your target market? Maybe. Does the gym owners do who else has your target market? It can be at a local level, it can be at an online level. They're there. You just have to look for them. Okay, what bloggers are there in your market? What podcasts? What social media? So that's what we think about. So we're going to take some time right now to list out as many of your Dream 100 as you can map out here in about 3 or 4 minutes. You don't have to get it finalized, obviously. Put as many as you can right now, and that'll get you started on this process towards using the Dream 100 to drive traffic into your funnels.